What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That right there is your girl, Adara, and I'm Sharif. And we already have Big Matthew Booth, as well as the OG, Two Pamps or Damp It. He says, shout out to Darwin there in the chat. One of the OGs definitely in the chat. So we'll wait for everyone to come on over from the other stream, as we have our own stream now, Adara, so we have to wait. Because YouTube sometimes be doing its own thing. All right, so yeah, there we go. We got Cairo, baby. Yo, what's up with you, my man? We got Sebastian, Chef Joe, Mr. Long Shorts. We got Big Michael Lloyd, Estupido, Bitcoin, Oxlong. We got John. We got JF Trader, T-Live, Ponzi, Fonzie. We got Brad Gober, Mike Cron, Picky Eater, he says. Marcelino. We got Sebastian again, 420, Bud Monster. What's up, sir? Trixie, Hell's Gate in the house, as well as Patrick Langlois, Dad Trader, Futures Trader Extraordinaire, baby. Dingle Boy. What? What's going on with that? We got the Piper, Carlos, Dart, Kevin, Mendoza, and we even have Adara. Dang.
We do.
What's going on, Adara?
Me, yes, I am okay. I am here. I was maybe a little bit aggressive trying to get this TQ short. I've noticed that sometimes right at 11, maybe I noticed this too because this is when I start trading, is right at 11 when I get back from the big desk. And I noticed the TQs have a tendency to fall. Then they also form this beautiful little bearish pattern here. Look at all these wicks to the downside. Initially, I wanted to wait for 5 52.10s. Then we kind of broke lower below 52s, and I said, Adara, you got to get in there sometimes if you like the level. So I got in 52.07s. Not sure how I feel about this. We're going to have to wait and see. This 52.14, 52.15 area is my sticking point. If we break below, above there, I will have to be outie. I want to take minimum VWAP and then see how much lower we go. But as we know, I'm all about scalpulation. If we slow down a little bit in that move, if I see something in the book I do not like or do not trust, we'll get out earlier. But right now, happy to take these TQs to the downside ahead of Powell time. How are you doing? What are you
Not bad, and I want to mention I like your TQQQ trade there because I was just about to mention that we're doing the wick shimmy dance. On the future, we're popping right into 17.5 and the market's saying, nah, back down you go. This is what I'm talking about here, these topping tail candles through a key level of resistance. I'm talking about that 100-point level on the NQ June contract. We're having issues breaking through 75, so I happen to agree with Adara. Hope she prints on that. I'll talk about some of the levels that I'm looking at later, but before I start the lesson, I want to mention I have a dip trade set here at the volume-weighted average price as well as the whole dollar level on TMX, yes, small cap gapper du jour, baby, up a cool 158.25 points, made its way all the way up to 5 3/4. It is now retracing into 4, but as you know, I do love me some small cap gappers that retrace into the volume weighted average price. I do also feel, in addition to this $4 level being VWAP or just above VWAP, I also like it as a price action support area. We have a couple of topping tail candles over here and definite resistance in front of that $4 area, so I'll be looking for defend. But it will have to come down nearer than where it is right now at 4 1/5 into that $4 area for me to get filled. I'm just going to pack my patience today, not going to chase some of these trades. The other trade that I'll be looking at, it may not make it, is 440 on META. This is a key level of resistance on Meta. It didn't quite make it up there, got to about 38.5, and well, it didn't quite make it into that level, so I did not get short. So let's get to the lesson of the day. As Sean kind of alluded to there, we are talking about the price target entry within, of course, the context of the gap and go strategy, which we will be discussing all week. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So the gap and go strategy thrives on strong price movements. But what if you want to avoid the initial frenzy and secure a potentially better entry price? Question mark. Price target entry, a variation of gap and go, offers that solution. This lesson explores how to set price targets and strategically enter trades based upon them. So let's get right down to business. So the challenge of the entry. What are we talking about here? So the standard gap and go strategy often involves buying or selling, if you're going short, at the open of a gap, right? Market on open orders. We talked about that. The aim being to capitalize on the anticipated trend. Something's gapping up, your assumption is going to continue to go up. However, this approach does have drawbacks. We need to talk about these. One, the first is you have an unfavorable entry price, right? You're putting your MOO or you're waiting for the actual stock to continue gapping up after 9:30. And so by definition, you're chasing it. So you're going to, what some people would term an unfavorable entry price, right? Early buying might lead to a higher entry price than necessary. And there's also a plethora of market volatility, especially at the open. The opening moments can be quite volatile, making it difficult to assess the true direction. And not needless to say, the indicators are going every which way. You got the EMAs flying up and down. You got VWAP, zigzagging everywhere just because there's so much volume, so much data to process at the open. And there's also a lack of confirmation, right? Thank you for adding that there. Buying right at the open runs the risk of a false breakout, right? Or a lack of continuation in the move. So think about that when you want to use the standard run-of-the-mill gap and go strategy. These are some of the drawbacks. So with respect to the actual price target entry method for gap and go, what are we talking about here? So the price target entry addresses the above concerns by incorporating a specific price target for you to enter rather than simply buying at the open. Here is the process. We're going to identify 4 steps that you can follow. First, identify stocks with a gap. Find a stock with a significant gap up or down if you're short inclined like big Kyle Burdett at the open accompanied with high volume. So the way to find your gappers, you either have a very thorough watch list that you can see what's gapping up or down, or you use a gap scanner. And I mentioned this yesterday, and I'll mention it again today. Here's my scanner. You'll see over here, I have a gap column, and I can choose to sort these by the gap, okay? So get yourself a scanner. Now, if you got to ante up, you got to ante up, all right? Things typically, the live stuff typically isn't free. So that's the first order of business, to find yourself a gapper. Second, analyze that trend. Use technical analysis to confirm the intended direction of the trend. Look for things like supporting indicators, like moving averages or trend lines or relative strength index, price divergence. All the things that we've talked about in the past, you have to incorporate in this method here in your technical analysis. And set your target, right? Based on your analysis, after you're done charting and your risk tolerance, determine a price target slightly above the bullish gap or below the bearish gap, the opening price, right? This target represents your ideal entry point. So I'll repeat that. Determine a price target slightly above or below the opening price, which the target will represent your ideal entry point. So you're going to have to figure out what looks best on the chart. And then you place your order. I would suggest place a limit order. Don't chase the market price. Instead, place a limit order, and I'll explain why in a second, at your chosen target price. This ensures you only enter the trade if the price reaches your desired level. And the reason I say use a limit at the open is because if you use a market, you could absolutely have tons of slippage. And if you don't know what slippage is, do a quick Google search, day trading slippage, and you'll get the entire definition there. Slippage is the cost of doing business, but it doesn't mean that you have to have the worst possible slippage. And I would say to you, if you use a market open at the open, you're going to get some slappage. So keep that in mind. So what are the benefits of the price target entry? Why would you want to use this method over the regular gap and go strategy? First, potentially better entry price, right? We're looking for something below the gap for a long, above the gap for a short. So by definition, right, you're getting a better entry price than a market on open or anything that would be chasing the stock. So by waiting for a pullback, you might, quote might, get a lower entry price compared to buying at the open. So that's one of the things. And then there's also the element of the reduced risk. You avoid the initial volatility of the gap, potentially limiting your initial risk. So keep that in mind as well. And discipline and patience. Man, if I could really underline this one a lot, I really would. This approach enforces discipline and patience, forcing you to wait for confirmation of the trend before you enter. And I definitely like that. I think that that's a good habit to espouse. And levels. Waiting to enter the trade gives you a better sense of what levels the stock is respecting and what areas might make sense for stop losses and profit takers. All right, here's a little bit of an example. I'm going to bring this in so you can actually see. So imagine ABC stock gaps up $1 at the opening, reaching gaps up $1, reaching $20. So maybe it was like 19. It's all good, Ram. We still love you, Ram.
Welcome back to How to Trade.
Hey!
Shout out to Ramin and Fabian.
Yeah, of course. So you imagine a stock, ABC, whatever, gaps up $1, it reaches 20. You analyze the chart and identify support level at 1950. It's a previous, say on the 4-hour, indicating a possible pullback, right? Remember, it reached 20 bucks. You don't want to use the gap and go traditional strategy here and buy at 20 or above. You want something better than 20. So you set a limit order for 1950, believing the price will eventually climb back and follow the bullish trend. This target offers a potential better entry compared to buying at 20 or above right away. So that's the kind of the simplicity of the actual mechanics, employing it in real life a little bit different, obviously. And some important considerations that you need to keep in mind here if you're going to employ this strategy. There are missed opportunities that you need to account for. The price might not reach your target, especially if you have something below the gap. The example we just gave, 20, if you put something at 1950, it may not come down to 1950, or it may come down to 1955. And then all of a sudden, you're without a trade. So you need to keep that in mind. And volatility, super important in this case as well, especially because you're trading at the open. Even with a target, right? Be prepared for short-term price fluctuations around your target zone. Just because you see something that looks good on the 4-hour or on the daily doesn't mean it's going to hold up there, and it could dip well below it before retracing up. So volatility is an ever-present danger, especially towards the beginning of the trading day. And order management couldn't be more important here. Consider using trailing stops in order to manage risk as the price moves in your favor. You see Neil using trailing stops a lot, and he'll let you know when he is using a trailing stop. So that is also something to consider. And, you know, wetting your beak along the way, if your position size allows you, is not such a bad idea. You could take out profit takers on the way up to your price target to kind of lessen some of the risk that you have there. So as long as your position size allows you multiple beak wetters, have at it, baby. And so the takeaway from this whole strategy is that price target entry injects strategy into the gap and go approach. By setting a target and using limit orders, you can potentially improve your entry price and manage risk a bit more effectively. However, remember that this strategy requires discipline, patience, and a well-defined trading plan. Practice on a paper trading account before applying it with a real capital. Adera.
I was not prepared for that. That rolled of the R, so shout out to that.
Yeah.
I can't roll my R's, so real capital. But yeah, shout out to real trading as well. And thank you, Sharif, for giving that lesson of the day. Pinterest, if you want to make up your mind about what you want to do, I would really appreciate it. If I sound a little bit stern with Pinterest, it's because this is the capital, president, what have you, of Bamboozlement Nation today, okay? I took this Pinterest long. I watched a couple times. I was like, Pinterest, you better behave at this little area. Look at that resistance level. And we held up there as support for a good while. We kind of bounced, and I watched it a couple times, got involved. I said, if we break below 40.05, we get out. The second I get in, Pinterest is like, oh, bye-bye. We get out at 40.05. I was like, whatever. We adhered to it properly. Now I'm trying to take the short, okay? Because I like that we're near this 40 area. I like that we're now kind of on the precipice of the 9 EMA. It looked weak. I got involved, and we had that break that I wanted here below 40s. I got involved at 40.02, pretty happy with my price entry. I said, if we break decisively above that area that I liked earlier for the long, that 40.12, then we'll have to get out, and it looks like now it's deciding to do that. I just can't look at this name anymore. I wanted to give it another chance. I did like that short setup. It worked for a hot minute. Literally a hot minute, literally probably one exact minute. It's not working anymore. If I try this again, I'm gonna have to be way faster with it because it looks like you could actually probably get a couple nice 10-penny scalps, but that has to be the trade that you're planning for. It wasn't the trade I was planning for. The trade I was planning for did not work out, and so I am no longer Pinterested in tangling with the stock right now. I have to say though, these T-cubes, I was really happy with what I did here. I obviously could have had more of a move, but I took, what is this? We took like, I think about 10 to 12 pennies with most of this position. And then this is where I started getting upset. So I left a third of my position in. I wanted to us to get to like, we got to 90s or 89s, I would have been happy. Ended up getting out 52 even because we kind of came back up and I was getting a little bit concerned about what we were doing. I always talk about my scalpulation. What I should have done though was added when we came back to the area I entered and we kept rejecting. So if I'd added there, would have been a better trade, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. What I'm gonna do is learn from this. This is really what I should have been Pinterested in, not Pinterest. So I mean, well, Pinterest might still get a spot in the side chart. I think there is something there, but it just, something that was there was not the trade I ultimately was planning for. Happy I got out, even though, guess what? We're back to the downside. That one.
Down.
How are you doing?
Good. Trying to VWAP dip on Meta. We'll see how that works out. Order is already in. Stop is already in. So we'll let that pan out. Meta, I was looking for a 440 short on Meta. It looks like it's not going to make it quite there today. So if it does, we'll get long. We'll get short, excuse me. This dip trade that I had on CTMX, it looks like I was a little too ambitious or frugal with my dip entry. This one came down to 408. I had my long at 409 and it bounced up to 460. So that would have been a really good trade, but we don't get filled. So no worries, we will look for something else. So I did get stopped out of Meta there as it just dropped aggressively. Doesn't hold VWAP, so not setting up in the way that I'd like. It's either going to be a 430 defend or 440 short on META. We'll start 0 for 1 on the day, but small loss there, and we'll jump to something else. So here is what I've got from the charting yesterday. So I charted these bad boys. I charted Meta, Microsoft, Google, and Netflix. And so I still like the price action support at 430 on Meta. So that's about 432. We're at 432 and a quarter right now. So that's about another couple of bucks. We were using actually 430 as a resistance level, and that's what I wrote. If 430 breaks in the pre, uses resistance, but for whatever reason, Meta absolutely just started skyrocketing almost into 439. It's awfully close to 430 right now. Softy, I had this one charted as well. Long bias of above 390, and that's exactly what it did. It dipped right at the open into 390 and then rocketed back up into 395 and a quarter. So keep your eye on the soft one for a possible 390 defend. Yeah, as I wrote here, look for 390 dip. There is price action resistance at 400. Look for short sale. That's what I'd be doing there. Goggles. Goggles here, I'm short bias on goggles for the foreseeable future. That is until the gap fill till 160 gets filled. We haven't quite filled that gap quite yet. That is the after the earnings fill, or gap, excuse me, when it bounced up, I think, into the mid 170s. It's been putting in lower highs and lower lows there every day on the daily. I'm looking for a 160 dip there. What's happening?
Oh, excitement.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Okay.
Spicy.
Some stuff is going.
Yeah.
All right. Last one, Ram. I want to show this one. I'm looking also for, what did I chart? I charted Netflix here with price action support at 550. It is now broken down below 550. So, like I wrote here, if 550 breaks, use as resistance, and that's exactly what it did today. 549.78, high a day on NFLX. So keep your eye on that. It also has a 50-period EMA resistance on the 30, but there is price action support at 545, and look what it's doing. 544 and a quarter, low of day, 549.78 high of day. Netflix has absolutely been within my range all day, so look for those two possible levels. 545 support on Netflix, 550 resistance now that it's broken down. It's within a $5 range and has been all day on NFLX. I'm going to keep my eye on that. Now, Neil just astutely pointed out that AMD and both NVIDIA are absolutely tanking. AMD is on the way down now, 9 2/3% to the downside. 143 goes AMD. I don't know what the hell is going on with AMD. I don't have anything new. I have some entries here from Evercore ISI, as well as who? Who's this? Evercore ISI. Yeah, okay, so I don't know. Did you have Evercore earlier on your Benzinga?
I didn't think.
Because that came in at 11. Okay, I'm just trying to see here if
all
Evercore
the
came
chips
in
are down.
earlier.
Like SoxL took a hit as well, so
Yeah.
it might just be overall chip weakness.
Chip weakness coming in fast and furious there. I don't see anything either on NVDA at the moment. looking super micro. This is all older stuff. So yeah, keep your eye on what's it called? These chips. And yeah, I may or may not have bought and put options on SMCI today. Oh, yeah. I may or may not have done that.
Not confirmed. Not,
it's only down.
Pleading the fifth.
It's only down $157 a dare. Let's not overreact, okay? I bought 2 puts, one closer dated, one longer dated. Go.
Nice, yeah. Putting SMCI in its place. Pun very intended there. Also, I'm looking for SOXL. I want to see, we're kind of picking up here. My areas that I like on SOXL are going to be this 3440 area, because we did see a little bit, you can't see now in this 5-minute, but we saw some chop and churn there. My biggest area for this, though, is going to be if we get back into 35s. That is probably going to be a longer term kind of short play, but look at the support we had here. And then we had this wick up, tried to make it again, couldn't. To me, the real SOXL play is going to be that 35 area. But I am super proud of what I did with Pinterest. This is what I like to call a good old-fashioned avenge trade.
Nice.
And, as people pointed out, avenge and revenge maybe mean the same thing, but for me, I guess it's how you take revenge. So instead of, going all scorched earth, I want to look at this stock and I want to say, hey, let's you and I have a conversation. Let's work it out together and find a way to be friends and come to a resolution. This Pinterest, I was saying earlier, I think, I was like, oh, well, I keep trying to take this long and short, but really it just seems to be moving within 10 pennies. So it's like a dare, if you see that, just take that 10-penny scalp. I did. It was planned 40 long, took it to 40.10, risking into 39.97, so risking about 4 pennies. Pleased as darn punch. Now the Pinterest long I was trying to get way back here at the start of the show is coming into effect. Like I said, I'm really not Pinterested anymore in this unless I really see something I like. I was just really proud of that 10-penny scalp because that's the type of trading that I like doing. It being in and out of stock in less than a minute. Please just punch. Also, I saw this again in the chat, people saying that I am an AI because of the Pinterested pun. I just like puns. I really do like puns. I am, you could tell I'm a human because of my trades. The trades are made by a human brain, just trying to learn a little bit every day, but I just thought that was really funny and not the first time I've gotten that. So I promise I am a person. Also, TQs, if we reject off this little previous base here of this 5170, I'm getting short. We're getting short. We're getting short. Okay. We are getting short. And we're going to risk this up into this 5180s area. That was the other area I like, so we're going to risk up into there. I would like to get filled here at 5168. There we go. Please just punch. Let's get it going. We might have had a bit too quick of a recovery. Maybe we're continuing to the upside, but I want to try anyway. A couple people were asking me about my thoughts on the esteemed Cybertruck. So let's take a look at Tesla.
Yes.
Before I look at your Meta, because nice look there on Meta. Tesla, to me, Tesla still is higher, lower highs, lower lows, below that 90 EMA. Look at that rejection here off the 90 EMA. We wick up into 180.30, continue to the downside. This is a super bearish candle here at 180.160. We try to break up above into 182, and it's not meant to be. We continue to the downside. So for me, I think the Cybertruck is continuing to roll downhill a little bit, despite that earnings strength that we had last week and that massive 15+% move up on Monday. How is Meta?
Good. We just took about 50 pennies right now, waiting for a possible. Well, I saw that it came into the 10 period here, so that may act as resistance. I was looking for a 435 pump. The reason was we had a bit of a support, or sorry, earlier support, previous current resistance, I should say, at 435. I'll pack my patience with this one. I also like that 20 period dip on the dead one. So AAPL coming into an interesting area here, dipping into 170.75. Oops, let me just load up. There it is. 170.75 on the 20 period on the 5. I've been talking a lot about this. The more superficial retracements on a trending stock seem to bounce off the 10. The deeper, prolonged or more prolonged retracements seem to be bouncing off the 20, and there you go. You're getting a closing print above that 170 and 3/4 on Apple. So I'll keep an eye on that. I feel like I may have kind of missed a little bit of my entry there. So we'll pack our patience with AAPL. Softy, though, had a big bounce up there. For whatever reason, again, not really sure what's going on with Softy on the day, but there is a range to be had here. 390 to the downside, 400 to the upside. Just got off the schneid at 394.5. popping up into 395 and 2/3. So a good move up for the soft one at these levels. I will keep an eye on those. We haven't covered the small cap gappers quite yet, but I'm keeping my eye mostly on CTMX. I'm looking for a dip into the volume weighted average price. It looks like the best we could do was that $4.09 dip. I was sitting at 405. It looks like it held up at the 20 rather than the VWAP area, Dara. So I'll pack my patience with that.
Pack that patience in the Samsonite, and let's see how that goes. Congrats on your meta trade there.
Thank you.
Nice moves. The TQQ short working a little bit here. I also want to address this because I like this here from Trading PE saying, you know, maybe my stop should be a bit higher. And I honestly think, and I was talking to Sean about this in earlier in the morning, and I said this on the show as well, I think yesterday or the day before. I think the biggest thing since going live, which I did a couple weeks ago now, that I think has been helpful is minimizing my losses. And for me, that means really, really tight stop losses. So even though I will lose in some trades, it means that my losses are smaller, that when I'm able to have wins, it ends up working out. And I think especially because I like scalping and I'm okay with like 10, 20 cent wins, that means I have to be okay with getting out of a trade and having that risk management a bit tighter. So I know I am aware of how tight and hyper-specific my losses are, but they kind of work for my trading strategy and the trading strategy I'm starting to develop. So I just wanted to mention that because I think that's pretty key. Yesterday, I was really happy with my trading, and I was also really happy because my two best names yesterday were Soxel and Snapchat. Those were both names that I took losses on, but because the losses were smaller than the wins, which was one of my biggest issues in the sim, having losses that outweighed the wins, I was really happy with that. So I just wanted to address that because I think that is a very valid comment to make, and it's something I'm actively working towards, having these tighter stop losses. So wanted to put that out there. Also, Brad Gober saying something, putting words to something I was looking at. Your trading range for today is Google. Yeah, Google trying to break out of that range a little bit here, but I was obsessed with this earlier. Google, not one that I necessarily want to trade with just after going live, because I am trying to be a little bit more cognizant in trading cheaper stocks. Google, though, having these two bullish candles here, bouncing off with these little wicks below the 9 EMA, closing above and trying to have a bit of a breakout here, something I'm also cognizant of, given that I am in a TQ short. Google trying to break above here. We'll have to see what we do. But yeah, I think earlier that was a great range. Base of 165.10, top of 165.50, cool 40 penny range. So shout out to you, Brett Gober, for pointing that out. Knucklebreaker wants to look at Apple. So let's take a look at A to the A to the P to the L. This is a nice look here, having that double bottom of 170.75, trying to curl back above here, above this 9 EMA. But we did have definitely some struggles here earlier for whatever reason with 171.35. Look at these two wicks trying to break above here of this level and unable to do so before we have that big move to the downside with the rest of the market at 11.05. So I think for whatever reason, Apple needs to crack above that 171.35 beyond just a wicking basis to really have a little bit more movement for me to get, to see if this market really, if this Apple takes a bite out of the market instead of the market taking a bite out of Apple. How are you doing? How did it go?
Did really good. We took $1 at the top there, but it continued to go into 435 as I anticipated. So good move up and a general VWAP. I don't want to call it a VWAP hold. It really wasn't. I mean, it dipped aggressively below VWAP, but on a very short-term basis, to put that lightly. So we'll keep watch on Meta. I'm still looking for 439, 440 short on the name. I feel it is bit range bound with 430 support and 440 resistance on the name. I'm kind of lamenting not having taken Apple on that 20-period dip, but what I do see is an interesting possible trade on the Amazonian. And I may have to be quicker to the gun to take this, but here is the low end of the pre-market range. It's around 177.70, and lo and behold, we hold up right at that level. Sure, we print 31, but look where the closing print is, right at that 50 penny area. So Amazon holding on to the low end of the range. It has been a kind of sell-off day today on the Amazonian. So we'll see if it's able to take 178. It looks like it's resisting right now with the dollar, the whole dollar area at around 178. I wonder if it takes it or not. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at there. I'm looking at the bottom end of the range on the Amazonian. I think an ambitious price target would be that 180 to come back into that key area of resistance. We know that that's where VWAP is hanging out too, around that 180 area. So I'll pack my patience with Amazon. I'm long right now in front of the whole dollar. We'll give this one about 50 pennies worth of room, small size here, for a possible 178 break and take it there.
Hopefully that Express delivers some profits.
Yeah, that'll be nice
for you. Definitely, hopefully Bezos, first day of May. Bezos, I don't know, maybe we'll get some profits. I'm just spiraling. It's a good day, guys. I'm pleased as punch. Not pleased as punch with the TQs. Mind you, we are a couple pennies out of the money here, but I'm still within my area. I said I wanted to see what we did around this 83 level, which was an area we had some support earlier in the pre, then some resistance around 1030. Now we're at that critical decision area here. I see Sharif pumping his fist along on the cues, so definitely my little cues are getting a little bit scared, but shout out to Sharif for that fist pump there. Also, let's look at some other things that people are looking at here. There were some mentions. I think SMCI mentioned earlier, so let's take SMC, why not? Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, this continuing to the downside, down $150 right now, bouncing or seeing rejections off that 90 EMA, but right now trying to peek its little head up above the 90 EMA, much like the TQs. So we're gonna have to see, this could be a super micro change in SMCI. Great day, says Carlos Dart. Shout out to you. I'm having a great day here as well. Sharif was pumping his fist, so I'm sure he's having a great day with Amazon Express delivering some moolah.
It'd be nice. I think you coaxed it into sending me some express delivery, so I'm going to give you that trade, Adair. All right, we just took a nice 30 penny quick win there on the Amazonian. I think it'll move up into 180, so I could be persuaded to get back in if it does retest 178. But guess what, guys? Ram. Where are we at? Whoa! Guys, we're 600 subs away from that 450,000 mark. You guys have no idea what this 500,000 is going to be for us. If you guys know anything about YouTube, you know about that. Slow clap, Patty. Slow clap, baby. No, for real, though. If we could get to that 450,000, obviously that puts us a little bit closer to that 500,000. We can't obviously do it without you guys, so honestly, please help out the channel. We're trying to grow. We're on all the social media platforms now. You can catch us mobile on TikTok. You can catch us mobile on the gram, everywhere, baby. We are live on all the socials, as that banner denotes. So we'd appreciate if you like and subscribe and even share with a friend to help grow the channel. I'm sure Adaro echoed that sentiment as well.
I do echo that sentiment. Check us out on social media. Check us out here every single day. Sean and I in the market recap, though Sean is not in the market recap today, it's going to be Neil. But we do give those earnings. We give some reflections. There's cool guests, so check out everything. You know, it's really, I'm always happy to be part of this community. I think we have a great community. So if you want to join that community, hit that like and the subscribe button. Also, TQQs, if you want to reject that 5180, please let me know. But I need to stop looking at this one stock, right? That's my worst thing, is just staring at something hoping that it will move. That's why I like scalping, because you see the moves you want right away. Like that 10-penny Pinterest scalp was like the thing of dreams for me. But this stock sell, I said I wanted to see, I was kind of curious about that 34.40s area. We did get it. So we're going to try to get short this 34.45s. I like this little bearish candle failure to break 34.46s. We're going to try to get involved here. Smallish position. I don't need too many shares. I just need that movement to the downside. If we break above that 34.60s, I am outie. I am getting out of Dodge. Insert car metaphor here. But yeah, taking two shorts. Shout out to the rapper Too Short. One on Soxal, one on TQQs, and we're going to have to see what this gives us. I think these stock sales are trying to push back to the upside, though I might get stopped out of both of these. But if you like something, you have to get involved. That's part of being a trader, in my opinion here. So let's see how this goes.
All right. Yes, I couldn't agree more with that. Echo Adaro's sentiment. If you like something, get involved, baby. Well, you know, get involved at your levels, the levels that you like. All right, 1320 Wolf. 500K subs, deserves a Sharif beard. Look, I think I could be persuaded into growing the beard for some sort of sub exchange. Obviously, I'm kidding a little bit, because there's really no way to do it legitimately with people who don't care about my beard, and that would be newer viewers, right? So I don't know if that's going to work, but maybe I'll do it. Yoel Reyna, Sharif, do you think stocks will go back up after the Fed today? I think a lot of it's going to have to do with what he says about his outlook for rate cuts, right? Think about that December dot plot, and then we got the new dot plot, I believe, in March, and it echoed with respect to the cuts, the same amount of cuts this year, which were 3. For whatever reason, in December, when we got the first dot plot, the market started pricing in 6 cuts. Don't know how they did that, but that 6 got reduced to 3, and you can see we sold off definitely a little bit on the futures. I'd be all ears about what he says he feels about the higher inflation prints that we've gotten in the first 3 months of this year. That's number one. Whether he writes them off as possible seasonality or gives some other excuse, that's number one. Number two, what he feels is the outlook for the rate cut projection for the rest of the year, and if some of that gets kicked down the road to 2025. And number three, I want to see what he says about jobs. If he keeps saying the jobs market's too strong, you know, sadly not enough people are losing their jobs, because really that's what it comes down to, then, you know, I'd be a little bit concerned about how the market takes all that. So I'd listen for those 3 points, and yeah, let me know how you do, Yoel, one of the active participants there in the chat all the time. All right. So let's get down to business over here. We said we'd look at some small cap gappers, and I will do just that. So let's get to it. Here are the ones that I'm liking right now. For whatever reason, CTMX is putting in that rounded bottom. Shout out to Big Kyle, who's not with us today, but he just sent me a text on the gram there. He's doing things. Yeah, this one's putting a bit of rounded bottom, trying to hold that $4 area. Came down to 409. This one is an interesting one because I feel this one's extra bullish in the sense that it didn't even make it down into VWAP. That's number one. Number two, it's putting in higher lows, not necessarily aggressive higher highs through that 4 2/3. This one looks awfully good. I'd be looking long anything above VWAP, anything above 4 on this one. But, you know, look for a pullback so you're not chasing this monster. CTMX is a ticker. And I just realized I didn't give you the deets. $310 million market cap. The float a little larger, around 67 million shares. What is the short float? Let's find out. Shout out to the NOS boss and his boys over there at Trade Ideas, CTMX. 2.46%. You know, I was going to say not negligible, but kind of is. I mean, 2.5%, a little bit less than the float. Of the float, excuse me, is short there. So that's the one we're looking at. WGS, though, this is a holdout from yesterday, and it's looking almost as good. Where did we close off? 1705 was the closing print at 4 p.m. yesterday. But guess what? We're up to 19.5 today on the high of day, currently printing 19.25. I got to tell you, though, I'm unimpressed with the volume for WGS. Make a quick cursory comparison to today's volume down here on the bottom right and compare it to yesterday's. We are far below, and it looks like the volume per candle is about 50,000 here on the 5-minute chart. Not exactly a glowing endorsement for this name, but the chart pattern looks awfully good, so we'll keep eyes on it. And then this one, I remember you telling me about this chicken soup for the soul or something.
Yeah, I think we looked at this like a while ago.
And there it is again, Adara, 125% to the good. Knocked on the door of $3 today, trading at 283, 299 high. It's very much near the high of days, but I got to tell you, the volume on this one, awfully suspect. About 560,000 shares done. That just is not going to cut it for a small cap gapper, but, you know, it's above VWAP and it's got all the right stuff. So keep your eye on that. And then who remembers this? HKD. It's having itself a day. Yep, it's down from $2,200 and now trading at $3.75. Anybody who remembers this from 2022 knows what HKD did. There were a lot of traders on this floor that were getting all sorts of FOMO from this name. Alas, it has now come down about $2,497 into $3.75. Having itself a day, though. VWAP hanging around the 3 2/3 area. Possible dip trade there, but the volume really is dropping off now. So a little bit suspect there. IMCC is trading below the volume weighted average price. Not a whole lot for me to say there. Dara?
That meme stock era sounds like something else.
Oh, you have no idea. You have, it wasn't even meme stock. That's a funny thing. That happened in 2021. HKD, for whatever reason, happened in the summer of 2022. Nobody understands why. Nobody has any idea why it ran up the way it did, but it did.
That's wild. Yeah, I have no words. I have 0 words.
There it is.
Shout out to Yoel Reyna becoming a Trader TV Live member. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for your support. We love everybody in this chat, but you know what I don't love is Sox L.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
I took an L on Sox L, I took an L on TQQs as well. Then I noticed Sox L kind of continuing to curl there to the downside right where I got out at 34.60. So I decided to get back in. I liked it, and to be clear, I didn't like hop back in right away. I did watch. I said, hey, we're still rejecting. I'm getting back out though because we broke above 70s. So again, I want to say one of the biggest things is I'm really happy with how I've been executing. Like if things aren't going well, I need to get out, and that's why my stop losses are really tight because I'm able to mitigate losses. I am down on the day, but my attitude is never to the downside. Always bullish positivity and always bullish more opportunities. We did that loss with the Qs there on that last short attempt. Did bring me, I'm now negative on the Qs despite that trade I had earlier, but it's like, you know what, Adair, you could have mitigated this, you could have avoided this by just waiting and being a little bit more patient for that Q downside. I'm happy with where I took out some of this profit, mind you, but I could have waited. And like I said, I should have probably added when we rejected from my area of interest, right? So all good, no negativity around these parts. We are always bullish optimism. And if we reject this 52 again, we know I like that 52 level. So if we reject that 52 again, somebody's going short. I don't know why I sang that, but I did. What else? People looking at Tesla, please, says Wadad Chamoon. Well, we appreciate the politeness there. We'll take a look at Tesla for you. Tesla, like I said, I still would like to see a higher high here, and I think we need to do something at that 180, 160 area because that was an area we really struggled to get above for whatever reason around 1050, so just before we came on here and how to trade. Now we're trying to curl back up a little bit, though. We did have this kind of bearish looking candle with that wick here at 180.60, but then now we're trying to curl back up. Right now, bouncing off the 9 EMA, that wick to the downside to 180 saying, hey, we are here, buyers are here, and we're ready to get this one revving to the upside, 0 to 100 as per the Roadster. So I think this Tesla is trying to curl a little bit, I think, on the 9 EMA, but honestly not with enough vigor or viciousness for me to really be like, this is a cool look. I think it'd be nice to see what we do around VWAP because we could still make a lower high. I think if we break above VWAP and then above that 180, 160, which is a level I still think is interesting, that's when the tide might be changing just a skosh here on the T to the S to the L to the A. Let's look at NVIDIA. Oh, NVIDIA, that 9 EMA rejection and that wick here. Yep. Okay, somebody's getting short NVDL. I know who. But also, you might also, it sounds like you might be interested in that as well.
Oh, so I was thinking the exact same thing as you. I was just unsure whether we would have a retracement at the 10 period or the 20 period. So I was letting it kind of do its thing. But I like how you had that exact same idea. And I like your level at the 10 period a bit better. And I'll tell you why, Adara, because we have this area over here, which has wicks into 830. So we knew that that was an area of support earlier. Now we come into 830 from that 822.80. Do we reject? I think this is a better level than waiting for the 20 period. It just happens to be my opinion. NVDL. Let's go to this bad boy.
Short NVDL. Said rejected order.
Oh, lame. Yeah, you know what? We may have to pay for shorts on that monster. Yep, same thing with me. Do you want to try NVDS?
The volume is not, it's below 600,000. I did just check. That was my initial instinct.
How about NVDX?
Ooh.
There we go. It's a bit more expensive, and the spread is not to my liking. 11 pennies on this monster on NVDX. It's on the Amex, Adara.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because it's an ETF. But it's too lightly traded. I'm not interested in this. It'll have to be an NVDA trade, and that scares the you-know-what out of me. So, okay. Well, I'll continue to watch this. Let's put up NVDA because the setup is accurate here. I do like this possible setup. On the monster NVIDIA, I'm going to have to think about this. I'm not going to just jump into this super quick. So if I miss it, I miss it. I don't care. All right, let me tell you about another small cap gapper that is making moves as we speak. It goes by the ticker SMMT. So SMMT, a cool 20%. This one got going right at the bell. So this didn't have a definable pre-market high off which to base the open break. However, this thing has held the 10 period the entire day. The one dip that you had here at 11:05 into the 10 period was bought up with this swiftness very, very quickly there. That's the EMA. Hide EMA. No, I don't want to hide it. I want to show it. All right, well, it's not.
Why doesn't it want you to show the
Show EMA, loser. Oh. All right, well, whatever. Anyway, this is looking awfully good. Let's look at the daily to find out if this is a former runner. It's not really a former runner. This trades regular price action. We definitely have resistance at 5. And that takes us all the way back into January, February, and parts of March. That $5 level has, you know, I mean, it hasn't been a strict resistance level in the fact that you've wicked above it, but look at all the closing prints. Almost exclusively below 5. So if anything into 5 on SMMT, I don't know if it's a pay for shorts setup, but that would be, you'd be wise to wet your beak on profits in anticipation of a 5, or if you can secure shorts, get that short, baby. But CTMX is rounding bottom, baby. This is going up. This looks like it might be on the way to 5, 480 incoming, higher highs, higher lows now. We were talking about a flat top break, excuse me, possibly through 4 2/3. It looks like it's not really going to flat top break, but it's going to curl, hugging either the 10 or the 20. Take your pick. It hasn't broken below either of those lines, either the green or the yellow. The yellow is the 20, the green is the 10, and it's hugging that magnetic effect that the OBE, the Knob always talks about. All right, let's keep an eye. The Apple, the dead one, just hit high a day right now, reclaiming 170 earlier, and now knocking the door of that 171.5 and got up into 171.52. Keep your eye, though, on this 172.50. Okay, we had that big boy tank yesterday into the close because one of their suppliers reported weak chip demand for cell phones, and that's why Apple absolutely tanked. But look at that price action bottom from yesterday, 172.5 to 172 2/3. If we make our way up there, I'm not saying we will, but if we do, I'll be getting all sorts of short on AAPL. So much so do I like this level, I'm putting an alert at the third of a dollar so that I could have some advanced notice of it making its way into that level. Great look, though, on the dead one and on goggles. They're both near high of day as we speak, Adair. Good short on, oh yeah, you couldn't short. It was a perfect call by you. I don't know if you saw NVIDIA curl down.
I did, yeah. Thank you, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? And shout out to Zaharan saying that there's NVD, which is a 2-time short bear. Zaharan, do you know if that's on the NASDAQ or the NY Amex? I wasn't able to find it.
NVDD? Just NVD, okay.
Yeah, let me know, Zaharan, but thank you very much for that, for letting us know about that. TQs, though, I decided, you know, like that level I liked when the TQs came in, that rejection of the 52, so it's like Adara, if you can't take that NVDL short, take a short that you like. It's at a level you like. NASDAQ. Get involved. I do not like that little bounce there off the 90 MA. Keep getting down, TQs. I'm going to be risking this. If we break above that 52, that like 52.08 area, basically where I got into the first short, that was a key area, and not even just for me. Like, I noticed what we did there. So if we break above that, I am outie. I like us breaking below the 90 MA. I want all the smoke here. Once you start getting into 51.7s, that's when things are going to get mucho spicy for me here in my TQs. I don't like spice in my food, but I sure love it in these markets. Let's take a look at NEO. John Szymanski, Bats and Badgers, among other people mentioning N to the I to the O. And NEO had those delivery numbers there, over 100% increase year over year. And talk about a VWAP bounce. Actually, sorry, this is more of a 90 MA bounce, actually. We come bounce here just below $5 and then spring to the upside. As we speak, we're making new high of days. So NEO, bless you, NEO, this is a really nice move here. NEO entering its own matrix here to the upside. Keanu Reeves, where? NEO's doing all it needs to do, up 12%. Sorry, just making lots of puns and lots of jokes here. I'm in a good mood in these markets.
Good.
Like I said, down on the day, but we're always bullish. Positivity. Thank you guys for the support in the chat. Much appreciated. Happy that I was able to make lemons out of lemonade. Couldn't short that NVDL. TQs were like, hey, Dara, we're at the level you like. So that's why I'm really trying to work on looking at more ideas and not just getting married to one idea. That has burned me a little bit in the past. Pinterest. Speaking of which, that one's continuing to move to the upside. I don't have any reads on this, but those 10-penny scalps were fun earlier. So if it gives me more of that, I'm going to look. But you're short meta. Yeah, trying at this level. It's into resistance level 1 on pivots and doing these topping tail candles. So I said, hey, what the hell? You know, I'm cruising for a bruising. Let's take a short on meta so we can lose some money. No, I didn't say that, obviously. But I am looking short here with these topping tail candles, kind of giving me a bit of an indication.
We also got into the volume weighted average price on the future, and I feel like we are finding a little bit of resistance at that level. So I'll pack my patience with this trade and see exactly what happens. Also, the soft one decided it had enough of a move up and topped out there at 395.63. Now coming down, trying to dance with 394. There is a hint of support at this level, and it owes to the action that we had in the pre. It seems as if we topped out at 394. So I wonder if we flip from resistance to support at these levels now, or what the situation ends up being. So I'll keep my eye on the soft one, Microsoft. There is VWAP on Softy at 393.5, 393.40 or thereabouts. So I'll keep my eye on that for a possible dip trade. But again, the levels that I like the most today on Microsoft are 400 rejection, 390 long. I feel that there is price action support at 390 and price action resistance at 400. What else we got over here? Wow, NVIDIA is coming down into low of day. So the monster is definitely giving back a lot today as it heads down, I guess I'm assuming in sympathy with AMD. Because there was nothing really NVIDIA related today, right? There was nothing.
No, that I saw.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, new low a day on NVDA, 822.35. Did you check out that NVD? It's on the NASDAQ. It's on the NQ. NVD on the NQ. No? Okay,
No.
So we don't have it. But on my platform, I've got it.
Oh,
interesting.
I see,
Okay,
yeah.
so.
Well, still thank you, Zaharan, for letting
Yeah,
us
for
know.
sure, absolutely. All right, so let's see what we do here on this short. We're a couple of pennies, not a couple of pennies. We're nicely in the money. There we go. Now we're tanking on META. So if we can make it down to 435, I'll take out everything there. And it looks like it might come in a little bit sooner than we thought. Come down, baby. All right, there we go. We'll take it out there. Got some out at 12s. Please, just punch.
Yeah. You don't need luck. No Luckerberg
No.
needed there to take that Meta short. Shout out to you there with Meta sliding into its DMs, taking it to the downside. TQQs, I said I wanted to see what we did at 70s, took out 2/3 of the position. I have a third. I have a piece for the drink.
Dang.
And right now, we're getting close to that area I want. I don't like staying into new low of days unless that's the impetus and the plan for the trade. That is not the plan for this trade. I cannot believe we are about 40 pennies, or 35 pennies on the money here in TQQQs. I am pleased as punch. I am very proud and I'm happy. Also, I did scalp out some of this at 70s. I know it is early, but I've noticed that when I don't scalp, that's when trades tend to go a bit awry. So you have to take some profit sometimes. If we keep bouncing here at 51.60s, I'll get out earlier. But right now, looks like we can probably get what we want, which is going to be that break below into 50s to 40s here. So we're going to, you know what? We're gonna get out here. I don't like that bounce, so we're cool taking 51.60s. Please just punch. Honestly, I have to say, and yeah, like you know what? I was saying this earlier actually. It was because Fabian Ramin a while ago put a poll in the chat, and it was FOMO or JOMO, so fear of missing out or joy of missing out. And I think sometimes you have to have that JOMO, and in this case, you know, like I could feel the fear of missing out because we could continue to go lower, but also I have profit. If I just take now, I know I have some profit, right? I'm happy with how I executed this trade. Positive on the TQs there. And SOXL definitely left without me there. I know I was looking at that earlier here. Let's pull up the SOXL again. I do think that that level ended up hitting that I liked, that 34.60. It just, I wasn't keeping my eye on it, and I ended up taking that Qs short instead. But if we do end up bouncing here at that previous level of support around that 34.15 previous low of day, I'll get in the long. But I think generally we're continuing to the downside. And even though I missed being able to get this trade properly, I'm still happy that that 34.60 level was a level I was able to identify, much like what happened with NVIDIA. Sometimes, and this is something Neil said to me after my first week of live trading when I went on the market recap with Neil and Brendan, and Neil said, these levels, even if you're not able to take the trade, just make sure, like, remember that you notice it and keep that in mind and think, how would you have executed it had you taken the trade? So I think that's really important and something to note. David Beach saying, how is SMCI not falling? Let's take a look at Supermicro, which definitely had a super macro earnings move yesterday that Sean and I brought to you there. This is interesting. You're right, David Beach. Supermicro flipping a little bit. And look where it's flipping. We had that previous support here, 720. Look where we're dancing around now. That's right, 720. Bouncing off the 90 MA. Super micro's like, oh, you other chips can go to the downside, but I am too cool for that. I am super, and I am not micro. I make major moves. So you know what chip names? Also 420, 400.
Hey, I know you did that on purpose, Ram.
Shout out to Ramin, who was giggling. Her laugh is so infectious. Shout out to Fabian. Shout out to everybody here as well. With that in mind, with the 420, I want to take a quick look at CGC for Pretty Panda. Shout out to you in the chat. You mentioned this one. CGC, this is interesting. We're knocking on the door, to use a Sharifism, of this break below, this 1070 area. We'll have to see what we do here. But CGC definitely losing a little bit of smoke, heading to the downside. Not a lot of green here, pretty red. Not a dope look if you're along. I'm going to stop with the puns now and take a breather. How are you doing? Anytime
you do a pun, we need like an animation, like a pun animation of sorts. Like it triggers upon the pun, right? Like we have to have an AI-generated animation. Anytime it detects a pun, boom. I know. Whoa. Okay, Ram. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ram. It's a very sensitive issue with her, right? No, hey, did I tell you about the video of the AI hosts? Have you seen this, Ram? It's in the Middle East a lot. A lot of these channels they're like 24-hour channels with no humans now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, anyway. All right, VWAP dip, here it is, guys, on the soft one, 393.40 or 50, give or take that area. That's where the volume weighted average price is on Microsoft. You'll notice earlier that there wasn't a whole lot of respect here for VWAP. To me, the respect looked like it was taking place at the 50 on the 5-minute. The 50 is the red line, okay? So I don't feel like I want to jump in too quick onto this trade for a defend. I'd rather wait for a whole dollar level like 393, which gives it a bit of a drop below the 50. Now that could mean I miss my trade, and that's absolutely fine. But Softy, as I mentioned, within that price action range, so we'll be looking to play off, moving averages and other technical indicators rather than price. The support level for me is 390. The resistance level for me is 400. That goes back to what I charted yesterday. It looks like it is holding up at VWAP for now, coming back into that 2/3 of a dollar. But the dead one, AAPL, man, it keeps printing higher highs. So a new higher high right now, 171.52. This has been up and to the right. Again, the shallow retracements take or bounce off, the 10 period, the more deep prolonged ones go into the 20, and they don't hold exactly, but they hold generally. Usually the closing prints are above the moving average. So good look there for AAPL as it continues to print up. Look, if you're trying to get into this, do yourself a favor, get yourself a dip trade here. What I can do on my platform, and I don't know if you guys can do it, I can say a buy order, and I can drag the buy order, as you can see on the screen here, and I like it at the 10 period. Right, so I'll put that buy order there, and I'll trigger it to sit there at the 10 period. Now, if the 10 period was to move up, I can drag my order a little bit with the moving average there. If you guys can do that, it makes dip trading off key technical indicators a lot easier rather than having to re-enter the order at the new price to reflect the new indicator value. So that's what I'm looking at there. AAPL looking real good. And Amazon coming right back down into that area that we took the long off of, Dara, that 177.5, 177 and 2/3.
I said that was a good area.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's actually finding a whole lot of resistance. Here we go, guys. This is the top crest, lower top, and yeah, you guessed it, lower top again. So 4 lower highs in a row. The flat bottom break initially looked like it came in at that 179.50. I'm not going to say really flat bottom breakish, but this is a very clear downward channel, and now it's only up about 1.5% on the day. I guess the market was not that impressed with the earnings, so sorry, Andy. We'll have to see exactly what we get the rest of the day. All right, what else we have going on? So Softy did come back into VWAP, so it's not ready to bounce up quite yet. And the future, yeah, we're back down into the low 4s.
Oh, low. Yeah, the future kept falling there. I'm happy I got out where I did, honestly, because we did have that move back up to 70s. So happy I got out when I saw a bit of the bounce in 60s. Shout out to anybody in this trade, though. This was a really fun trade. Happy I took it. These TQs still falling. SOXL and all those chips still falling to the downside as well. I tried to short that when we had a bit of a move back up into 34.20s. I was not fast enough. I did not come with the swiftness and viciousness. I was talking about the market coming with the swiftness and viciousness, but I was weirdly thinking about this on my way home yesterday. I was like, I need to approach the market with the same swiftness and viciousness. Why does this only apply to the market? And it doesn't always, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think the market moves quickly. So it's like, if you have ideas you
100%.
like, you have to come at it with that aggressiveness. You have to show the market who's boss sometimes within reason with ideas you like.
I like it.
That caveat.
I like it.
You know what I mean? That's
very aggressive. I like that.
Thank you.
You have to be. I mean, because the market's not going to be nice to you.
Exactly. Right? The market is a bully. The market is a hater. The market will steal your money, steal your clothes, take your name,
Whoa.
etc. I'm joking.
We should jail the market.
Right? I think it's like, well, you know, you were the lawyer. You could prosecute the market.
Oh my God, no, I can't.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But yeah, shout out to everybody as well for the support, for the puns in the chat. You know what I mean, hopefully they're not too punishing. Have some fun making it happy that people are able to enjoy. TQQs making the shorts super happy as well here, trying to break below that previous area of support. I'm not, even if this bounces, we're not taking a long. I would rather take a short if we have another rejection. That's kind of going to be the play today. TQs, SOXL, you want to give me a short opportunity? I would appreciate it. Tesla, I was looking at here because we're still kind of seeing that compression, still below the 90 MA, putting the compressor in Tesla. So I think we haven't really made any lower lows in a while, but I think the fact that we haven't really made any higher highs either makes this one very difficult to play unless we're taking some little, scalping moves. And Tesla's like, oh, you don't think I'm going lower? Making this move to the downside here, trying to push not a lot of volume on that Tesla, so I don't know what you're so excited about, but it is continuing to reject off that 90 MA. There might be a short for me and its little sister Tesla, and you know what? I am going to take that short. So we're going to take this short, $8. I like that position. We're going to take this short, $8. It will not let me short Tesla. I used to be able to short Tesla.
It flips. It flips.
Look at
demand.
Tesla's,
It's the demand.
TSLS and see what's happening there. But either way, I like something on this Tesla-related thing. Chip spring season sale. Yeah, says Elon. Yeah, it looks like the chips may be on a discount this May.
They're tanking it, Dara. Look at this. All right, I got to show this over here. So this is my chips watch list. You'll see this. Everything and their mother's cousin is down, guys. I mean, 10% on AMD, 5.87 on NVIDIA. Intel's faring the best here, down like less than 1%. Obviously, SMCI, the monster, is down aggressively. So everything in chip world headed down. So keep your eye out on that. And this is the reflection of that down move, and it's on NVDA. And I'm feeling awfully silly for not having shorted this there. But alas, that's the way it kind of is with NVDA. It is finding some support right now for whatever reason at support level 2. I'm not inclined to really want to take anything off that level. I want to see exactly what it does at the 810 level. I think that might be interesting. But right now, if you tip that 812.50, you're already $4 in the money as quickly as that happens. So there you go. NVIDIA can just absolutely give. It can taketh and giveth. So yeah, do your thing there. All right, TSLA back into VWAP, guys. Look at this area. Everything subsequent to about 10 o'clock has rejected off VWAP. But I would say to you that the 200 period is also featuring into these. Look at this bump here. We clear VWAP by some distance, but we reject off the 200. The 200 is the blue line. I'm unsure exactly what to make of Tesla today, so I will leave it alone. But it does look like it's establishing a bit of a range. You could make the argument 181 to the high side, save and except for that pop over here, and essentially about 179.50 to the downside. So that's a decent $1.50 range on TSLA. We'll see exactly what it does here. VWAP coming in close. 181.11 is where the volume weighted average price is sitting. But look at this. Amazon all the way back down. So does it hold this trend line? And is this trend line a real deal? I think I'm going to give myself a shot. Oops. Where is my Amazon? There it is. I'm going to give my shot at these here levels on Amazon. I like this range. Let's try to play this range, Adara. I
mean, let's try to play this range. Some of my favorite words. So best of luck to you. Play that Amazon range. Like I said, I have been staying away a bit more from the mega cap tech stocks just because as I'm first going live. But as I get more comfortable with buying things with larger share positions, I have no qualms about getting back involved in the mega cap tech. For now, though, I will live vicariously through Shroof's range trades. So shout out to you. get that express delivery of that profit.
Bang.
Right now, I got involved in this sock sell short. We're going to have to see. This might have been a sock sell, and I should have probably waited a little bit more into 34s, which was that level. I like that 34s, 34.12s, but I noticed we kept rejecting below 34s, so I got involved 33.92s, really trying to take this. I know this candle is a little bit bullish looking, which is why I am a bit hesitant, but it has had that weakness all day, and we haven't really been able to get off the schneid, to borrow a neologism that Sharif also uses here, and we're still not being able to break above 34s. I'm going to give this like 34.08, 34.05, just kind of that area here where we had that previous support. That's where I'm going to be looking to see what we do here. But if we can't even break above 34s, someone's plays his punch. And somebody's me. Pretty small position, just trying to get in the habit, especially with these kind of riskier, more vicious and swift moves, to get involved with levels I like, trying to take those profits. I want to see what we do here into 33.60s. So I'm risking, I think maximum 15 pennies, trying to make about 30 here because I want that break into 33.60. So please just punch with that. It does look, though, that the tides might be turning and this candle might be bullish. But you know what? As Sharif said, you can't take trades based on one candle. No. This is a bullish wick, mind you, but we still have that failure to break below 34, and we are weak in a lot of these chip names. AMD, let's look at, I haven't even looked at AMD in a while because it got AM destroyed off of those earnings. Lisa Sue and her Lisa Suit could not save this name on earnings there with those revenue. Oh, this is I like this look here. This 144, look at that candle. You have this wick up above 145. This is a bearish wick if I've ever seen one. Then we fly to the downside. I sound like a sports announcer or an auctioneer, but you know, these stocks move quickly. Now we're trying to break above the 90 MA, and AMD's like, what are you talking about? Continuing to the downside here. So my stock sell also moving a little bit down. AMD, NVIDIA, you want to keep moving to the downside, I'd be pleased as punch. However, much like StockSal, it's interesting, AMD and NVIDIA, but especially AMD, forming this little bullish candle here, which we have that in AMD's case, wick down into 142, trying to come eat it back up. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. I think things could get a little bit spicy in these chips. I am involved through StockSal, so hopefully we're going to have to see if we can turn that into a StockSW as AMD tries to maybe curl up a little bit here.
40 pennies, quick as wind. Got in 176.82, out 177.12. Done with that trade. Super, super quick right there. So sorry, that's not 40 pennies. That's 30 pennies. I can count. I can count. But this is the trade that I'm now looking at. So we were talking about Softy at the 50 period. Oh, baby. I mean, I can't even see the body of this candle because it's blending in with the 50 period. So thin is the body, right? So that means the bulls were really buying this monster up into that 392 territory. I think it got down into that 2/3. I like this. I hate to have to trade Softy on one candle, as Adara just astutely pointed out, but I did have my eye on that level. So it's not like I was, I'm being super random about this level. 393 or thereabouts is where we are currently trading. The volume weighted average price is at 393, I want to say 40 or mid 40, no, 40 or high 30s, somewhere in and around there. All right, there it goes. I think this holds. I don't know what to do here. I'm unsure of whether to get in at these levels or not. What is Softy? It's up 1%. What are we doing here on these markets? Let me mull this one over. So we are getting a bit of a bounce in the future. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly if I want to take this trade, and if I take it, how much room do I give it? So there is this price action support over here at 392.60. So that's interesting. So if we break that level, I can say to myself, well, the trade's wrong at that level. Right? Yeah, it's not really bouncing up with the vigor that I'd like. I'm going to steer clear of this trade. I may end up regretting it. I think I probably will end up regretting it. You know what? Eek. Yeah, I'm unsure what to do here. All right, so someone was asking me in the chat what indicators I'm using, and just to explain them real quick, shout out to RS. So I think it was RS, yeah. So here it is, RS. Okay, so on my chart, you're going to see some colorful lines, and I'm sorry, the green solid line, not the green dotted. So that's a dotted. This is the solid. The solid line is a 10-period exponential moving average. I only use exponential moving averages. I don't use simple. The yellow is the 20. The red is the 50, and this here blue, navy blue, is the 200. You'll also see dotted lines on my chart, and like, let me see if I can show you. Yes. So the green dotted is the pivot point. And the pivot point, if you don't know what it is, go to the YouTube home channel for Trader TV, type in pivot points, and Adair's lesson and eyes will come up on that. So you'll be able to know exactly what those are. So that green dotted line is pivot. Above that, you're going to see two lines off blue. You'll see the aqua and the navy. That's resistance level 1, resistance level 2. Same thing with the two lines, dotted lines below the green one, the red and the orange. That's support level 1, support level 2 on pivots. I like to incorporate pivots sometimes into my calculations. So I'll always keep them up there. Now, I should mention to you that I don't always use every moving average and every indicator on my chart. One thing that I've always kind of tried to champion is what is the indicator respecting on that date? It's incumbent upon you to figure that out, right? And obviously you have to make observations and watch the chart to see what is featuring on the day. Is it the 50 period that day? Sometimes it's the 10 and the 20, and they take turns being areas of either support or resistance. I mentioned at the top of the show, sometimes the more superficial retracements will come into that 10 period. Some others will go into the 20 period, the deeper ones. So that is something to keep in mind there. I'm long softy, so come what may now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to we're out of the SOX L to take a little bit of a SOX L on that. Like I said, it was a little bit riskier, and I should have waited to see what we did at this level, because this level I like better anyway, this 34.15. We broke above that 34.10. I got out, did take an L on this. That SOX L, I am down on the day on it, but you know what, as I said, you can be down on the day and always up on your attitude. So ready to take the next trade. This was a level I like better anyway. I should have been more patient. If we still fail here, I have no qualms about going short at this level. The one thing, though, too, I want to address, because I know people said this in the chat as well, and I think this is valid, always being cautious of getting out of a trade or getting back into a trade after it hits your stop loss level. I think sometimes, too, though, it can sometimes be a user error. And by that, I mean the level that you chose might just not have been right the first time, right? I knew it was a little bit riskier taking this short at that below 34 levels. So that was, a little bit on me as well, right? I think if we still stay below this 9 EMA and stay below this 34.40 area, which I kind of mentioned earlier, we could get back in, but I do not want to be too hasty. Shout it to the Spice Girls. I want to make sure that I'm making decisions that make sense before I get involved. Couple names to mention for people. Renata asking about Boeing 170. And I have thoughts on Boeing 170. I looked at that chart for you, so I want to take a look at this. Boeing 170. So yeah, sorry, I guess we already missed it. We broke above, but this is what I wanted to say is, to me, it looked a bit more flat top breaky than it did a short. And by that, I mean, we had this double touch of that 170, then we made a higher low, had that bounce off the 9 EMA. So sorry, Renata, I wasn't able to get to this earlier, but yeah, I do think the fact that we had that kind of higher low setup here with those failed wicks below that 169.20 area, it did look a little bit of a longer side. So I'm sorry I wasn't able to get to that earlier. Generally, though, I like the support as well at that 168.50. If we do end up falling that 168.50 area, could get a little bit spicy. I remember when Boeing was at like 250s. Boeing, how the mighty have fallen. How they have fallen.
Unreal, eh?
It's scary.
Yeah, and it's sad because I feel like it's a great American company. It's a company that I really respect. You know how much I have an affinity for airplanes, so it goes without saying. I cared about Boeing, right? And what, like,
you do like airplanes.
I do. I want to be a fighter pilot as a kid. So I mean, I really did, though. Yeah. Anyway, so it's sad for me to see this whole thing, but nobody has a right to be in business, and that's what my old man tells me all the time. The market determines whether you stay in business or not. So you got a chance, Boeing. Fix your ways, I mean, and get it together, and I'm sure we'll all be good with you. All right, we're long on MSFT, looking for this bottoming tail candle to hold up and see if we can move into that 394.5, 395-ish area. I'm going to pack my patience. The future, it's not off the bottoms or anything, but definitely off. We rejected 17.4, and that I missed completely. So I was completely oblivious to the fact that we just touched the 100-point level there, and I'm disappointed in myself for having missed that because I should have been alive to that fact, and alas, we're about 58 points above it now. Now, what is making a retracement to the high side with this latest fuge pump? Well, it goes by the ticker NVDA, and it's coming right back into that 822-ish area, which is where that 10-period exponential is hanging out. And you look at last time, we did reject that 10-period exponential. But it's just not about the 10-period. It's about this price action bottom. Look at this, 23 to 22.50. That conflates with the 10-period moving average, so that could be an interesting area of resistance. Above that, we have the 20 hanging out at 826 3/4. The deeper retracements come into the 20. So if you are watching that, let me know how it goes. All right, we wet our beak on some profits on the soft one, so happy about that, but definitely not out of the woods here. Looking for a 394, 394.50 retracement. It doesn't look like it's forthcoming quite yet, and I am starting to doubt this trade. I'll tell you why. We got some profits, but that doesn't mean the trade is valid. They're two separate things. This aggressive buy up on this bottoming tail candle, to me, kind of indicated that buyers really like that level, and they bought it up with aggression, so much so they took it about 75 pennies off the bottom, and then it skyrocketed back up. And so I expected the exuberance would continue, but it doesn't look like it is, because the two candles that followed it, the two 5-minute candles, are quite anemic in their pop back up. So, you know, I de-risked a little bit here, so I can continue to hold this a little bit. We'll see exactly what we get on the soft one as it tries to hold that 50-period volume-weighted average look. All right, we talked about Tesla also having a possible range between that 181 and that 179.50. Well, that looks like it's in question. Where it's in question too, though, like where does it reject off, that's a point of contention. What I can see, though, is off the initial high on that IB high, shout out to Dan the Man Emmons, into 184, we've put in incrementally lower highs. The last high was off that 182 rejection, which was a little bit below the 200 period on the 5. So we're almost at 181.50 now. So I'll be looking for a lower high than this 182. Perhaps we top off maybe at 170, 180, 175, maybe something a little bit lower if this lower high trend on Tesla is to hold up. All right, anything else? Yes, Amazon bouncing nicely off that initial area that we talked about. So that trend, that downward channel, I should say, still intact on the Amazonian. Possible short here at 178, 178.25 to play within that same range that has been on Amazon all day long. What's up, Adara? Oh, hold on. I got a couple of tags here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Kendall Lopez, also that NVIDIA level forms confluence with the fib. You can't just say confluence and expect me not to hit the bang. Shout out to you. Yeah, you're good point with you on that. I didn't actually have the fibs out for NVIDIA, so I wouldn't exactly know. Dan the Man Emmons, what's up, my man? Shaking hands with you as well. Escobar, Home 2.0. What?
I don't know what the future is, I think.
Future. TCH, not FUGE. Sorry, the futures. And what I mean by that is the NQ June contract. I chart the NQ, but that doesn't mean you have to trade the NQ. There's the MNQ, there's the T triple Qs, there's the triple Qs, the S triple Qs. All these are derivatives of the same product. You don't have to trade the NQ. That's, you know, the big boys do that. The Aruns and the Seans and stuff trade the NQ. That's a monster.
Well, you've traded the NQ as well.
Yeah, it's maddening.
Good
though.
effect.
Yeah.
Good effect. So yeah, I just want to shout out Sharif there because he's not going to shout himself out. Sharif has traded
Appreciate
the
you.
QQQs, or
Appreciate
no, not
you,
the QQs,
Adira.
the 2Qs, or the
What are you
NQ.
looking at?
So shout out to you. I am actually, ironically, looking at the Qs.
Oh.
So I did short. I'm short the Qs here. I am aware we are in a bit of an upturn, but I want to talk about this. So I liked initially we were failing to break above that 5180s level. Now I mentioned this 5180s earlier. Support in the pre, a little bit of a resistance earlier, 1015. That was my stop initially for this other attempt at a short here. And we're still struggling. We're below. If we break above that 5190 area, which happens to coincide with VWAP, but the reason I like it were these little bounces earlier, then I'll get out. That's fine. I'm okay with being wrong. When you're wrong, you're wrong. But if I like an area, I want to take it. I want to take it with that viciousness. I want to take it with that swiftness. I want to show the TQs who's boss. TQ&A over here, hopefully the answer is a successful trade, but we'll have to find out. wait and see. Also, shout out to Ponzi because I think he wanted to shout out earlier. So shout out to
Ponzi.
Ponzi.
What's the
What's the Lambo trade?
Yeah, well, no, we always play off it, right?
What's the Bronco trade?
There you go.
I keep seeing the same Bronco at the same intersection, not every day on my walk to work, but every couple weeks. It's a very like slate gray Bronco that is a gorgeous vehicle. So shout out to the Bronco.
Slate gray?
Yeah, it's a nice Bronco.
Is it Nardo gray?
I don't know.
Okay, well, we're going to have to show you a sample and then get
gray.
your opinion. But I want to update everyone on the Katina Man's trades, baby. Katina Man still short AMZN 182.02. Shout out to him. And what's this 146.96, Katina Man? AMD short 146.90, essentially 147 on AMD. $4 and $5 in the money. Excuse me while I do this for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There he is. There he is. Hello. All right, so shout out to you, Katina Man. Awesome trades on that. And then we have to show you Nardo Gray now, Dara. I mean, I kind of prefaced it a little bit. Look, it's a newer color, and it's kind of like an earth gray. And I know you're all about your earth colors.
I am.
Is it this? Is it this and the Nardo Gray?
It was close.
Oh, are we going to get demonetized? We're going to get demonetized.
But also, Neil's ready to go. I think.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Is it this kind of color?
Okay, I think it is that. It's a little bluer.
It's a little bluer.
A little bit bluer.
Gotcha,
but shout out to that vehicle. It's a great car, and it's weird that I keep seeing it there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Ramin saying we should have searched the Bronco Gray, so we'll have the Bronco Gray for you when we have that Googleable. Okay, Ramin's seen the exact Bronco color, so thank you, Ramin. But as we find that Bronco, we will also find Neil's lesson of the day.
Hello there, it's all about the lesson of the day today, and we always talk about FOMO, 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 the fear of missing out. Got a question, and it was today, like, it was more of a comment, like, thank you for getting rid of my FOMO. And I thought about that for a second, and my first thing was, like, you don't get rid of FOMO. That's a reality. The fear of missing out is just, like, we're all human beings. It's human nature, right? If a good opportunity is out there, the boys have a good night out at the bar, you had to stay home, and you're like, oh, crap, I missed that opportunity. It was a heck of a lot of fun. You know, you're going to feel it emotionally. Like, we're not robots. So whether it's a good trading opportunity that either you weren't at the desk, maybe you talked yourself out of it, maybe you got wicked out of it, all these sorts of things can happen to the point where something worked and you didn't get the profit from it. Or even a situation where it worked and you didn't get the entire move out of it. So there's all these different ways in which you can get FOMO. And I think if you're trying to not eliminate it, because like I said, you're not getting rid of something like that. We're humans, we breathe. You can't stop breathing. You can't stop, when you're a parent, you can't stop worrying about your kids. Like, you can do your best, but at some point, there's things you're gonna worry about. So you have to understand it's gonna happen to you. I find one of the biggest things you can do is stay present and stay in the moment. And I know that's gonna feel like, yeah, but if you're too present and focusing on the charts and focusing on the stocks, what's gonna end up happening is you can then overthink things. But if you have a plan of action and you have a style of trade and you have yourself a routine, I mean stay in that presence. So one of the easiest ways to get FOMO is to start jumping and looking at every single move or expanding to every single stock or reacting to every single comment. But if you sort of stick to your normal plan of action, which is to wait for your entry point, define your plan. If you're not in something and it's not at the level, then do whatever it is that you normally do. Like, if I'm sitting here looking at SMCI wanting an SSR bounce, and this is the one I want to open with. Now, it went 10% down at the open. The problem here for me was it wasn't 10% down when we were doing our pre-market prep. Like, the stock had already bounced $40 to $50. So instead of being 10% down, it was like 8% down, and it wasn't going to open up SSR. When it opens up SSR, you get that immediate flush and then pull back opportunity. So if you look at something like, here's the example, like here's check. Like, this is what I'm thinking SMCI could do. You get that immediate flush, hold the bid, just get into it, and then you're just sitting in the trade right off the open, pretty much exactly the plan. We've seen it like time and time again. So you come in thinking SMCI has a chance to do that. Instead, it's just grinding up, so a lot of that gets thrown out the window. Right at 9:30, there's the dump, the gigantic wick holding the pre-market bottom. That's like, it goes right back up through like 735 in here, and then there's like a $25 move. It is so easy in that situation if you're looking for that bounce play right into VWAP as well. Well, that's it, I missed it. You know, the only thing you can do there is just go back to your normal routine. And if I'm not in something, it's look only for the setups that I liked. Stick with it. Like if I sit there staring at SMCI, which I missed that setup, I'm going to just encourage that FOMO. So I know what I was doing there. I was looking over, okay, where's AMD? Do I like it? Do I not like it? Where's Chegg? Do I like it? Do I not like it? Just going right down through my list of stocks until there was a setup that I liked. And it's tedious, and you can feel like you're missing out on the things that are moving. But ultimately, you know, that's what you have to do, whatever your process might be. Now, you'll see my partner Sean here a lot of times like sitting back chilling. That's fine too. It's whatever keeps you present and not staring at that one thing that you know is going to cause you to overtrade. The second thing about FOMO is to have a plan and stick to it. And I've said this before, if you can't articulate your execution plan, then you shouldn't take the trade. And when I say articulate, I just mean what's the stock you're trading and why, what's the direction you want to trade it in, what's an area of interest you want to trade it, and then what are you looking for to happen to get in? Is it a specific price? Is it a higher low after this? Is it a bounce off VWAP? Is it the 50-period moving average? Whatever. What's your execution region in? And then where is your out? Once you have all of that, if you've at least said that out loud to yourself or put it down in a plan, you're at least some level making yourself accountable to it. And this actually happened where I know like there was a couple of people in the chat when I was in SMCI, like you'll look at me, I was long in here. It doesn't seem like a big loss, but it's a $4 hit in there. And it ends up bouncing. There's $5 you could have had. There's a higher low right in there that's $8 or $9. So it'd be easy to get that FOMO. Oh, Neil, you really, if you just hung on to that trade, like you had it at that bottom for the play. But you know why I didn't get FOMO? Right before I got in, and actually right here, 15 minutes before the trade even happened, I said, there's your wick bottom at the 720 level. It needs to come back underneath, and then my execution plan is punch long back through 720, get tight to the 720 level, and then give it underneath the 17. And that's the execution plan. So had my plan been hold it underneath 15, and I got out without that happening, I'd be mad. But I gave it my execution plan. I was never going to trade it another way. So I can't even pretend like, oh, Neil, you missed out on the trade. No, I didn't miss out on it. My execution plan resulted in a losing trade. So that was always going to be the case. But if you sit there without, I don't know whether I'm going to or not, I don't know where I'm going to get out, or you kind of play it by ear, yeah, maybe I'll get out if it breaks a low, maybe I'll just give it more. If you're just guessing at it, then suddenly, if that turns into a losing trade, you're more apt to get the FOMO. You know, yes, you might also hold it because you don't have a stop and it works out. But if you lose when you don't have a defined plan, it's going to be easy to say, "Oh man, well, you know, this could have worked. Let's just get in again. Let's just trade it again because that could have worked. Look at that $10 move." But if I know this was my plan, I followed it and it lost. Over time, you're going to realize that is a better way to go about things. And just to give you an idea what patience looks like I wanted the SSR bounce play. I didn't trade this stock until 10:30. You know, I was in CGC, and that was one of the things. You saw me in it like multiple times in the open. It was the first thing I traded. It didn't work. Took it a second time, didn't work. It took it a third time, didn't work. But look at the gap in between. I waited patiently from setup to setup, like 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was, because you just wait for the next level. Allow it to set back up. Notice, wick bottom, higher low. Same execution plan. Broke down, get out. Scalp some out for winning trade. But when you are patient and you just wait around for like one specific thing to happen, I didn't get into Pinterest till after 10 o'clock. That was a bounce play. And it just comes down to having a process. For me, in the first 15 to 30 minutes at the open, if I'm not in the trade, then I am just going right through my list in order. If I have 6 or 7 stocks and levels that I'm looking for, I'm going, is pins at a level? Yes, no, not yet. have my order, scanning it. Is NEO at my level yet? Okay, it was down here. No, don't like it. Is it above 5 yet? Is it breaking out? Okay, now we like it. Then we put some trades on. That didn't happen until 9:48. Like we sat that out for 15 minutes. The stock went up 10% almost. And we didn't even trade it until it was above the $5 level. And again, it's just about scanning through. I was checking AMD multiple times. Do I like AMD? Is it AMD at the level I liked? It didn't break 45 until my first trade AMD wasn't until 11 o'clock. And this was a name that was on my list, but it didn't. Did it get to the fade level I liked at 54? No. So you kind of stick to your plan. Scan through one after another. It's tedious. People call it boring, but if you have yourself a process, that's the best way to get through FOMO. And it's so easy when so much is happening around you in the first 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the market that you can get yourself wrapped up in, I've got to be in something. And if you don't have a plan of action and a process and a routine that you can follow, then you're going to fall into being into everything. So it doesn't matter what your trading style is, how many stocks you trade, how many setups you trade. As long as you stick to that plan, and when there is nothing there, do something to keep you in the pocket and present and not chasing whatever unicorn is out there. I think that's going to help you with your FOMO. I think patience is obviously going to be a virtue, but find what works for you. Heck, if you do crosswords until your alert sets up, that's fine as well. If you go for a walk and get a verbal alert in your ear, that's fine. It's just find something that works for you. Because if you're going to be sitting in front of screens, the market's always going to seem like it has an opportunity every 2 seconds. The question is it your opportunity? Is it the one that you want? So always be scanning for the ones that you like, define them first, and then just wait for them. FOMO is going to happen to you. The best you can do is reduce it and limit it. You are never going to get rid of FOMO. You can only hope to control that problem. That's the lesson of the day. Let's get right back at it. Good luck in the markets, everybody.
Thank you very much, Neil. Awesome as always, my man. Neil dropping hot lines every day around the noon hour. Catch that every day on How to Trade. Neil's lesson of the day, baby, at 12. All right, Adair, while Neil was dropping hot lines, we did, bounce off a little bit here off that 17.4 on the future. I still haven't wet my beak on the last little bit there on the softy trade. I was looking for a 394 pop and break, but alas, it does look like it's having a bit of trouble with that 2/3 of a dollar. So I'm just going to continue to pack my patience on this trade, but it does look like the future may be rejecting the volume-weighted average price from the south side. And the reason that that's important is because last time it broke it to the north side. And yes, by not breaking VWAP this time, that makes yet a lower high. So now we have 4 lower highs in a row if we kind of crest out here and move right back down, maybe touch around 17.4 again. So we'll keep an eye on the future. And I did secure some NVDL shorts vis-a-vis the Katina Man. So the Katina Man was great, nice enough to be able to get me some of those with his manager's account, and now I'm locked and loaded on NVDL shorts. Now NVDL today is a pay for shorts kind of thing, and we've been popping into the 10 period, the 50 period as well. So I'm looking to get short here. I will look to defend that 33 I had up in a different screen. Let me just tell you what the 20 period is on NVDL on the 5. I will be looking to defend 33.15-ish in and around there. If we can get something around that, I will be looking to wet my beak at those levels. So we'll see exactly what we get and if we can get a nicer move down on NVDL. I've been looking to short this, but didn't have any shorts. So now we've got them, and now we're short, and we already got the first profit taker, but it's got a trigger. So we'll see exactly what happens there. All right, what else is going on over here? I'm just keeping an eye on that. Softy still doing its thing, so we'll pack our patience on that. What's your look, Adair, before I start the lesson du jour?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're going short a chip, and I'm going short SOXL, so I think we're definitely both taking chips with a rip there. Rip short. I know Opie said chips with a dip.
It.
I think you can flip that for the short side. I don't know if I'm going to get filled on this. I wanted 20s. I just keep missing. There we go. This is the area I liked last time, too. You know what, Adara? If you like it, try to get involved. I don't want to chase, but this is a level I like. This is a level that I let pass me by on the other way last time, and this isn't going to keep passing me by. Shout out to Farside passing me by. I want to get involved. I want to have the fist pumps like Sharif there with the chips. I want to be where the people are. Shout out to the Little Mermaid, and I want all the smoke. So let's try to get involved. I think I might have been a little bit slow on this, but Soxal, if you want to go up like 1 penny, 2 pennies more, we will be getting involved in this short. Me thinking I can coax a stock, that's fun. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see here. I did like that level. I just really do not know if this is meant to be. I do not think Soxal wants me in there. Soxal has like FOMO about, yeah, we're gonna take off without me, I think, but that's all good. Please just punch. If you do come back into that level, I still have my order ready. I'm ready for you, Soxal. If you take the time to change your mind, I'll be at the other side of the door. Soxal, the main thing I'm looking at,
Nice.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 20 pennies in the money on this NVDL short. Like, I have to start the lesson, so I don't want to end this trade, but I'm not managing this trade while I'm doing the lesson. It's just not my style. So we'll get out here at the nice little profit taker, and we are exactly about 5 pennies in the money on the softy long. I'm going to get out of this as well because I do need to concentrate. So let's do this. I'm not good at multitasking. That sucks, but that's kind of me. All right, let's get to the lesson du jour, baby. We are talking about the price target entry within the context of the gap and go strategy. That's what we're talking about all week, gap and go. So if you're all about that, join us today, tomorrow, and Friday, because we'll be talking about gap and go. So the gap and go strategy thrives on strong price movements, but what if you want to avoid that initial frenzy and secure a potentially better price? And the frenzy I'm talking about is the open, the 930 open. So price target entry, which is a variation of the gap and go, offers a potential solution. This lesson explores how to set price targets and strategically enter trades based upon them. So let's get right to business. So the challenge of the entry. So let's talk a little bit about this. The standard gap and go strategy often involves buying or selling, if you're going short, at the open of a gap, right? Aiming to capitalize on that anticipated trend. However, this approach does have drawbacks. Now, I'm just going to pause here for a second, because if you didn't join us yesterday and the day before, the gap and go strategy, what you're doing here is you're looking for something that gapped up above the prior day close. So if we closed at $400, I'm just giving you a random number, on Meta yesterday, and we're opening today at 9:30 at 4.05, then you're said to have gapped up $5 from the previous close to today's open. That's what the limits are for the gap. That's where you're judging the gap. So the whole point of that strategy is to kind of bank on the momentum. And so you're thinking, okay, 9:30 is going to come and go. We're going to continue to head up. So you buy at the open. This is something called a market on open order, and you typically take it when there is a gap. So that's the very basic strategy. Now we're going to play off that strategy and see if there are any variations that can help fine tune it. And that's what I'm talking about here, Ram. Okay, so the challenge of the entry, first and foremost, you get an unfavorable entry price. Typically, early buying might lead to a higher entry price than necessary. If you're buying market on open, you'll typically get, somewhere around the open price, a little above, a little bit below. You could possibly get a better price, and that is if you wait for a pullback. And the other issue is the challenge of the entry is the market volatility. Have you ever traded at 9:30, especially these large caps, these Mag 7? They're moving like crazy, right? You can't get a read on it. They're blowing through indicators, they're blowing through levels, and it's typically a frenzy. So the opening moments can be quite volatile, as I'm sure a lot of our viewers know, which makes it difficult to assess the true direction of the name. So a little bit above, a little bit below, and you have no idea what the hell's going on. And there's also the lack of confirmation about getting long or short right at that open. Buying right at the open, or selling for that matter, runs the risk of a false breakout or breakdown, or a lack of continuation in the move. So that is the challenge of the entry based on the regular market on open strategy. But the price target entry strategy to the rescue, baby. So the price target entry addresses the above concerns by incorporating specific price targets for your entry rather than simply buying at the open. Here is the process. I'm going to outline 4 things you need to look at. First, you need to identify gappers. I mentioned this at the top. I'll mention it again. I get myself a scanner like this, and you see this column over here where it says gap. I can sort these by what is gapping the most, and then I can choose whichever one I like based upon volume, because we know volume is very important in addition to the gap. Why? Because there's a lot of eyes on it. The more volume, the better, okay? That's what you're looking for there. So get yourself a scanner and get yourself a gap one with a gap column so that you can sort the gaps. Then, once you've identified the gappers, you're gonna look to the names that you've narrowed down to, and you're gonna analyze their trends. You're gonna use technical analysis to confirm the intended direction of the trend. You're looking for things like supporting indicators and moving averages and or trend lines. So you're trying to gauge where this chart may lead to. Is it a bullish chart? Are there higher highs and higher lows? Is it conversely? Are there lower lows and lower highs? So you're trying to make an assessment about the direction of the trend once you find the gap. And then after that, once you've decided whether you're long bias or short bias, you're going to set your target, right? Based on your analysis and your risk tolerance, determine a price target slightly above the gap or below the gap if you're looking to short. This target represents your ideal entry point. So if it was like that example that I gave earlier, 400, I'm just giving any random number, 400 on Meta was the closing print from yesterday. Today we gap into 405. So maybe I'm looking for something below 405, 403, 402 and a half. Maybe that's a little too ambitious. Maybe 404. Shout out to the highway. Sorry, I had to do that. I had to do it.
I think the highway appreciated it.
There's a highway in Toronto called the 404. That's all you need to know about that lame joke. And then, shout out to Refrain. All right, and then, so once you've set your target based upon where the gap is, you're gonna place what I would suggest to you, a limit order. I would suggest not a market order in the beginning of the trading day because you can absolutely have a ton of slippage. Slippage is, you know, if you put a market order, say $400.10, the market order could fill you at $400.50. It's theoretically possible. And so that difference between the 10 cents to the 40 pennies, that's going to be your slippage, okay? So place a limit order. Don't chase the market price. Instead, place a limit order at your chosen price. This ensures you only enter the trade if the price reaches your desired level. One thing I would suggest here, if your platform allows you, you can have a triggering price and a limit price. The triggering price triggers the order. The limit price says to the computer, pay up to as much as this, okay? So if you have that in your system, I would suggest using a stop limit order rather than just your run-of-the-mill limit, okay? But not everybody's gonna have that on the platform. So what are the benefits of the price entry strategy for Gap and Go? Well, potentially better entry price. We already mentioned that. By not going on market on open and waiting for a retracement, if it goes in your way, which is up if you're long bias, then you get a better price. You get a dip trade. Who could say no to that? So by waiting for a pullback, you might get a lower entry price compared to buying at the open. You also reduce your risk by using this strategy. You avoid the initial volatility of the gap on the open, potentially limiting your initial risk. So that's important as well. And discipline and patience. This strategy requires both of those things. You need discipline and patience to execute this strategy effectively. It forces you to wait for confirmation of the trend before entering. So I kind of like it for that. And the levels. Waiting to enter the trade gives you a better sense of what levels a stock is respecting and what areas might make sense for stop losses and profit takers. Couldn't agree more with that, Adair. And here are some considerations you need to keep in mind if you're going to employ this strategy. The missed opportunities, they are real. The price might not reach your target. Keep in mind, you're setting a limit order below the gap. So by definition, that gap may not get entered again, right? So it may not break below 405, it may just go. And you take that risk. Volatility as well. Even with a target, right? Be prepared for short-term price fluctuations around your target zone. Just because you've identified what you think is a good area to put in a dip trade doesn't mean the market gives a you-know-what about your entry, and you could absolutely get blown through, and it could dip just above 400, so could look to fill the gap, the entire gap, and that is a real consideration when trading right at the open. And order management. Consider using trailing stop orders to manage risk as the price moves in your favor. You often see Neil employing these trailing stops when he's in the money on a position. And he does that, obviously, to secure the profits. So get familiar with trailing stops if you already haven't. And also, if your position size allows you, before your profit taker, you can wet your beak and de-risk, so you can take some profits along the way if your position size and risk management allows you. And the takeaway from all this, guys, is that price target entry injects strategy into the gap and go. You don't just blindly go in market on open. By setting a target and using limit orders, you can potentially improve your entry price and manage risk a bit more effectively here at Adara.
Yeah, thank you for that lesson there. And I want to say as well, too, I think with the beak wetters, what I do sometimes is if I have a specific trade, this is just for gap, this is for trading in general, that I want, that's part of my strategy, then you might want to take a few more shares to have room to disperse, spread the love to the different areas that you're trying to profit take, right? So I just want to put that out there. Also, I've talked about SOXL because this was a winning trade, but this is not a trade that felt like a win in my heart. I have to say, I said that really dramatically and weirdly with a pseudo-Southern accent. That was not intentional, but let's talk about SOXL. Because, basically what happened was I said I didn't want to be chasey. I was a little bit chasey. I little bit of a chase in this move. I wanted initially 25s, couldn't get it. I ended up getting 16s. Then we kind of broke into near 30s. We were dancing with that 90 MA, and I was getting a little bit diced, but I didn't want to panic sell. I said, Adara, wait to see what we do here. At this earlier area, we did make a higher low, so I continued to the downside. Ended up getting out around 34s because we were struggling to break 34s at the time. But then I was initially looking for 90s. If I had stayed in, I would have gotten 90s. The point I'm trying to make is, don't go chasing waterfalls. Go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the levels and the trends that you're used to.
Yeah, you sing a lot better than me. I'm not singing anymore after you did that.
Don't do that. We like singing. But yeah, so anyway, so the point, in all seriousness, I think my trading needs some TLC in that regard because I really should have been waiting for my levels instead of chasing. That being said, this looks like it could be a bit flat bottom breakish. So if we keep seeing these rejections here, I kind of like that 34.10, 34 area rejection. I might miss it, but I'm definitely not going to chase it here. I'm happy with what I did with that, but I'm also not proud of myself in other ways, so I wanted to hold myself to account for that in front of everybody here. Slightly down in the day, looking for new opportunities. TQ continuing to stream to the downside, but I don't really have any levels I love on that. If anybody's seeing any stocks they're liking that they think we should take a look at, anything that looks really cool, let me know. Patience is a real superpower, says Diggle Boy. Shout out to you. I agree. Patience, I've always said, is not the virtue that I necessarily have here. Centering here, seeing a TLC reference and raising one. Creepers rising up for Adara. Yeah, definitely. SOXL creeping to the downside without me a little bit, but we're going to have to see what's in the water. What else are people looking at? If there's anything you guys like, anything you think is a little bit rangy or anything like that, I like a range trade, definitely let us know. But I see someone isn't Google searching for
I am
already in one.
I am. I'm also very disappointed in myself for this Microsoft trade. I had to get out because I had to do the lesson, but there we go. The idea was sound, and there goes Softy through 394. I'm thinking, 395 retracement. At least there was a whole bunch of consolidation, as you can see here on the on Microsoft. The top end there was 395. So good luck for anybody looking for that long. But I got to tell you, the future is a symphony of lower highs and lower lows. So you can't run away from this trend, baby. This trend is staring at me in the face, and these lower highs and lower lows on this here future is quite telling, okay? And here we go. Looks like we're going to maybe come back down again to 17.4. If we do, I don't think that spells, good news for my goggles trade. Yes, goggles is up 1 1/3%. Yes, it is at VWAP. But so what? If the market starts trending down, so is Google. So we'll see exactly what we get here on goggles. Where is my goggles?
So VIK opened that IPO there.
Oh yeah, thank you.
It's kind of around
Just
the 20.
Interrupt me now.
We're not. I'll switch to the 1 minute here. We're not doing too much. We kind of had to move up into 21, 25. Fell below here. Yeah, this is nice volume here. Below 10 mil, 9.65 mil. We've got the book and the tape up here. about a 3-penny spread, 2-penny spread, so not a bad look. I have no qualms about trading an IPO if it sets up in a way I like. I did take that Reddit IPO in the sim, and we had a nice trade on that, so I have no problem doing that. Looks right there now, though. VIK starting to pick up some steam. Okay, wider spread now, breaking to the upside. Still kind of struggling, getting decisively above that 40s area, and as I say that, I'm sure it'll break into 50s, but VIK trying to push higher here. Shout out to anybody who's in this, but of course, always be cautious. Stop loss nation over here, especially with these IPO-related trades. So I want to put that out there. VIK is open. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for pointing that one out. This is not as much on my radar as it should have been. But hey, look at this. If you want to see us move with these markets every day, like and subscribe. We are almost at 450,000 subscribers. We'd love to see you guys here every day.
I'm willing to bet Ram's upset that it says no longer says 420.
Oh, I'm sure she's displeased as punch. Yeah. Oh, it's because it was 449, 449.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you, Ramin, for
I
that.
got
Yeah,
you,
I know you
Ram.
like the number patterns and numerology and stuff. So
Right, yeah.
That's very cool. Thank you for pointing that out. 449, 449. Trying to make that number continue.
I love it. Sounds like an infomercial, eh?
Right?
449. All right, let's keep an eye on that. Nice move up there into 165.05 on goggles, so we'll take a bit of a quicker profit taker there. But Softy is just on the way up, guys. Unreal move here for the soft one off the VWAP dip. Look, I don't think it even held VWAP. I think this was a 50-period dance in the same way that we had a 50-period dance there from 9:45 into 10:10. So 50-period featuring, and that's why I said to you guys, have the moving averages on your chart. You don't necessarily have to use all of them. Look at what it's respecting on the day. If it's respecting it, use it. If it's not, don't. That's really what it comes down to. Anyway, Softy, nice move up off 393 at the 50 period, looking to knock on the door of 394.5, which is the lower end, or a quarter, actually, I should say. So we talked about that 395 being the area top for this consolidation area. Well, it looks like 394.25, the consolidation area low. So we just bumped up to, I think, a fifth. So just below a quarter here. So we could find a little bit of resistance at these here levels. We'll keep an eye on that. I just tried to get short NVDL again. I don't know why it didn't let me get short. It kept trying to sell, and I had nothing to sell. Like, what's going on here? Yeah, like, see? And anyway, it's not letting me short NVDL. I want to short, hey? Refresh, yeah. Good call. But it does look like NVDA is headed down again after rejecting just below the 20 period on the 5. And this is what caused me to get some of these shorts here on NVDL. Looks like we're topping out a little bit here. Now, you could make the argument that it's not really respecting the 20 period as much as it is respecting these consolidation area lows. It did this twice already. So look at this consolidation area low over here from between 10 a.m. till around 10:25. And then look where the consolidation area high is for this area between 11:15 and 11:45. It's the same area as the low. And then it did it yet again over here with this area consolidation low acting as this area's consolidation high. So it's interesting how it's flipping like that on every occasion, not really respecting the 20. Did respect the 10 on occasions, but the 20 hasn't featured all that much, it looks like, right here on NVDA. So I'll be looking to get a better entry price now that it's curled down a little bit here on NVDA if I'm going to go short again, but it's an interesting look here. All right, let me go back into my goggles trade. So we wet our beak there for a nice winner, and then now we're 3 pennies out of the, one penny out of the money now as it comes right back into that entry. I'm not taking goggles out here because I feel VWAP may hold on Google. So with the position that I have left, I'm going to pack my patience for a possible move, maybe into the quarter or $0.50 Idera.
Someone else is in Google with you too. Sean says he's trying long Google. So yeah, there, you don't have to search for companionship at the trade. You found it.
Hey.
Shout out to Google. So I am in FISA right now. Shout out to Pass Overdose for mentioning this when I said I was looking for something kind of rangy, something playing levels, and this Pfizer is kind of interesting. I think this could be a bit of a flat top break. It's not a perfect flat top, mind you. We still have not eclipsed that earlier high, which on a closing basis on the 5-minute was about that 2680 level, right? But we did have This move into 26.65. These wicks above saying nah. Then we bounce off VWAP twice. Come into 26.65. Again, rejected. But then we were bouncing off that 90 MA. I like this. Got involved at 26.58. I have this line here, that previous resistance around that 26.52. That's where I'll have to be outie, get out of Dodge, etc. I have enough for 2 beak winners. And I said I like to kind of organize my trade where if I do want to take profit or take pieces out for the dream, I have to plan the trade accordingly. So if we do break above into this 26.65 level, I'll probably take some out there, save pieces for the dream, and get ready to go. Check out SP today. Very rangy, says Eclectic Passions. Look at Google. Go Google.
Pamp it.
SPs. SP on the end. Let me know what the, SPY says Eclectic Passions. Yeah, the SPY, I don't want to trade anything as expensive and as volatile as the SPY. I'm going to be really honest, but it's so rangy. Okay, if anyone knows like a SPY derivative that I could be getting involved in, because the SPY is very rangy.
VXY, have you tried? What's that? No, what is that?
That's the UVXY.
Yeah, no, there is something with X or it's a
SPX?
derivative of it.
SPX? No.
No, that's the index.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'll find it for you. You can keep going. I'll find it for you.
Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, I do spy the range you're seeing there on Eclectic Passions on the SPY. Thank you for pointing that out to me. You have a little bit compressed. We're getting a slightly higher low here, but generally these ranges of about 5013 into about 520. My Pfizer breaking down a little bit. That one needs a shot in its arm to the upside. That is an earnings play. So Pfizer might need to get a little bit immunized here. I want to see continued movement to the upside on the P to the F to the E. You all ready to say, let's take the leap together, go into the SPY? I mean, it's for me, it's not even at a level. I'd probably want to take it at the base or short it off the top.
UPRO. UPRO on the Amex.
On the Amex?
Yeah.
Okay, this I like better price-wise. Volume about 2.1 mil, about $60. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. Again, it's still not at a level I like. I want to either get it long off the bottom, short off the top, but that is going on my side chart. Thank you, Eclectic Passion, for pointing it out, and thank you, Sharif, for finding UPRO for me. I appreciate that. Pfizer picking right back up at that level I wanted to see, so let's keep going. Baba's also in a great range, says Pitch Bull. Baba Black Sheep, have you any ranges? Sounds like you do. So let's find out. Alibaba is, this is a range. Okay, I have opportunities. Thank you guys so much. I love this chat. I love this community for sharing all your ideas. Baba, UPRO, Pfizer, so many things I have to keep an eye on here. Also, there was a super chat from Donnie Zimbabwe from earlier. Thank you for the shout outs. My profit on my profits the other day, sending love for Mr. Nvidia. Thank you, Mr. Nvidia / Donnie Zimbabwe for the $4.99 super chat. Also, I'm so sorry. I just realized we had one earlier from Sebastian Galchik asking about ARMS. €2 super chat. I'm so sorry for the lateness there, Sebastian. ARM actually also kind of doing something interesting here. We're forming a little bit of a flat bottom with lower highs around this 96, currently perched below the 90 MA. This could be a bit of a flat bottom break, and I also think this resistance that we have around that 97.40 area has been pretty interesting. We struggled there earlier, swoop to the downside, come back to 97.40, swoop. Another super chat here from Donnie Zimbabwe as well. Another thanks to all of you guys for everything as I wet my beak. You guys have made me my year in terms of trading. Thank you so much, Donnie Zimbabwe.
Donnie.
Appreciate the love from this whole community.
All right, the soft one is on the way up. Microsoft curling beautifully in the way that I hoped Google would. They kind of had a similar look. I mean, I don't think the Google trade is gone at this time, so I'm going to continue to hold off here. But this area is where we talked about. This 3 1/4 area was the consolidation area bottom. It also featured as a level of resistance at the open. Shout out to Dan the Man Emmons for pointing out the IB high. We're right there right now. So whether or not we continue through the $0.5 is a bit of a mystery at this point. We'll see if we can make it up into 395 territory. High a day, 395 2/3. Great look there for Softy. All right, the other one that I'm looking at here, TSLA. This one danced with VWAP, and it's continuing to dance. So here we are right back at that 181 1/5, 181 1/4, approximately the area where where VWAP is on the 5-minute chart. I'm unsure whether to take Tesla here. I do like this area as a level of support. So I think I will put my dip trade at the $0.25 and try to get a better price than 40s. I may miss the trade. We'll see. But I do like this Tesla area here, possibly at VWAP. We had featured with VWAP earlier and used it as resistance. Now it looks as it's flipped to support. We'll see. We'll see if that's the case. Google continuing to hang out at VWAP, not really that much below it. All right, so, oh, by the way, I should mention to all my Apple traders out there, the dead one is now curling back down. So we did touch 171 3/4. Now we're on our way into 171. Now, that is the whole dollar area. We did have a bit of a resistance area at 171 earlier in the day. That was until about 10:45 when we broke that level. It is also the 200 period on the 5, but I don't often use a 200 period on the 5. But let's see if it features. If it features, we'll talk about it. VWAP is at 170 3/4, probably will be a little bit above that $0.75 by the time if it makes its way down into VWAP. So keeping an eye on that. But it looks like, yeah, come on, Google, bro, hold up above VWAP. Yeah, so I'm going to have to get out of this Google trade now with the remaining amount as it now is breaking down into the $0.75 area. And this is no longer a trade that is valid for me. I will be looking at 164.50 because that is where the IB high is for Google. If Google's to hold up, I don't mind getting in at 164.50 here. The range on the future is still intact. It is still a downward channel. This is what I'm talking about, the upper trend line being this one over here. I can make it thicker, actually. Oh, nice. There we go. People can see it a lot better. Yeah, there you go. So there's your upper trend line. There's your lower trend line. And that has been intact essentially since, I don't know, 8:15, 9:15, excuse me, this morning. I always forget that this is Central Time. So, all right. Well, that is the look. Tesla is back at VWAP, so decisions to be made for me here. There are also 171 on Apple. So interesting stuff. Oh, sorry. I took a page out of your book there. This is a local area top here on META. Be careful, though, because we do have higher lows, so we could be accumulating for a flat top break. But this 436 3/4 is an area that's featured 3 times today, each time, though, with successively higher low. That usually means strong momentum, so be careful there, anybody trying to take that short playing a range on META.
Yeah, I like that you did I like that you took a play. Because I mean, like, I was saying this to Sharif yesterday. It's a very organic thing I do when I see something I really like. It's like, you know what I mean? You get excited. So
right.
Happy that the excitement over these levels is wearing off because there's certainly a lot to be excited about today. I need more side charts. This was the conclusion I was coming to because I have so many things I want to look at. You know what I mean? I gotta beef up my side chart game now that I'm more organized. Sharif and I both know that when I was in the sim, my side chart organization was very subpar, to put it lightly. Things were messy. Things were hard to find. I was always like, where's the book for that stock? Where's the book? But so everything's organized now. Shout out to everybody in the chat as well for the SPY and BOBA recommendations. Have my eye on both of those. And I am in Pfizer, which is looking to make that flat top break. I do have a planned beak wetter for half the position if we do break that flat top, 26.65, saving pieces for dreams. So shout out to Past Overdose for pointing that one out. Pinterest. I like this level earlier. I was trading in, out, and all around at this $40 level, as you guys can see. The most successful trade ended up being a very quick 10-penny scalp, so I was happy with that. But look, we bounced off, got back up to 40, more top and turn to the downside. So this is what I want to keep my eye on as well. That might be something to put in my side chart. Gosh, I wonder what JP will say today, says Anthony Kerr. Yeah, we're going to have to find out what Papa Powell is talking about. It's always very illuminating hearing the answers to the Q&As. Last time I know one of the big things was that he said there was seasonality, which Sharif and I was kind of talking about earlier. Yeah. But how long does the seasonality excuse last, right?
That's the thing.
You can't be seasonal forever.
No.
Seasons exist for a reason. They're temporal.
Yes,
they're temporary. By their nature. So we're going to have to see what he has to say on that. We had some feds as well saying, oh, I don't see like a rate hike completely out of the realm of possibility. So that, if those words get tossed around even in lightly, I think the market could do a little bit of a chop and turn. I want to quickly look at Viking as well, the VIK, that new IPO, before we get into the trade that I want to talk, your trade that you just got into.
Hopefully
but this VIK, let me switch to the 1 minute. I showed it to Stock Trader wanting to look at this one. This is a nice look. We bounced off VWAP a couple times. Now seeing these wicks into 26.25 that we're not able to break below. looking pretty strong right now, Viking, but we did have this wick, at least on the 1 minute, into 26.75 that was unfulfilled. We could be seeing a little bit of a compression, a lower high, so we're going to have to wait and see what we do on this VIK. I have never used the XXXX ticker as an alternative for the SPY Heavy 82. I'm going to have to look into that. Thank you for letting us know about that. But also, speaking of compression on VIK, someone's involved in sometimes Compressla, always Stressla. Is it Tesla for you?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. But, you know, we're holding out hope that our relationship may change. And right now it's disappointing me. So we'll see if we can hold this 50 period again. The 50 period has featured on TSLA, dipping below it now. So I put my out on the break of 60. So 180.60 will be my line in the sand. That will be a 32 penny loser if it does break, and it does look like it's on the way down now. So alas, I will probably get stopped out. No worries. We have to take these L's. Otherwise, you know, we won't be in the trade. So we'll see if this one continues to head down. Topping tail candle possibly here on the soft one as it came into that 34.75 and got a bit of a sell-off. We just got a 50 period retracement as well on Apple. It's trying to fight with the with the whole dollar area. 171 is where we're at right now. A couple of pennies above, a couple of pennies below. There does seem to be some price support where VWAP is at that 170.80, and you have that double bottom into the 20 period, earlier today at 170.75. So we'll continue watching that. So Tesla getting a little bounce back up now, only 10 pennies out of the money. We'll see if that one can recover. I don't really have a good feeling about this one. Also, NVDA on the way down. So this one really hugging the 10 period over here. Any retracements on the 10 period are paying. It looks like 819 is where the 10 period is on my 5 right now. So we'll continue to watch that as well. What else is going on? Oh, we forgot to look at these small cap gappers.
Oh.
Totally forgot about that.
There was a gap in our memory.
There was, clearly. Yeah. And look at this, CMTX hugging VWAP right now, but with 2 lower highs. The important area for the small cap gapper, as oftentimes it does find some support there. VWAP and $4 are awfully close. So the whole dollar area and the volume weighted average price about 8 pennies or so away from each other. And then we also have WGS. And this one is the real deal, it looks like here. Second day play. This one started out on Monday at that $11, and now we've almost doubled in value, $20.75 at the high. And this one, there was very little bamboozlement into this one. Like, let's be real about it. Look, there's only one retracement into the 20. All the other retracements from 930 onwards have all been into the 10. So you've been able to, you know, weasel your way into this trade here without, looks like a whole lot of bamboozlement. So we'll keep eyes on that one as well. What other small caps are still in play? This one, SMMT, not a big mover, 17%. The volume is a little suspect as well. But look at this dip, this huge move down from 482, and lo and behold, look where it finds some support, right at VWAP, right at VWAP. So there was an algo, there was something waiting at the volume weighted average price to take advantage of that, because 3 5-minute candles in a row, you got bottoming tail candles. So there was definitely a buyer at that let's say around 4.5 area, because you got those nice 3 bottoming tail candles pushing the price right back up. CSSEP, this one not really doing a whole lot, bunch of higher lows, kind of trying to stay above VWAP, but not really doing that good of a job, that well of a job. So we'll continue to watch that. The dead one is on its way down, it looks like here. So a rounded top here on AAPL. It just broke the whole dollar at 171. So that's not going to hold as a level of support. Next on the support list is this 170.80 area. That's where VWAP is. If we continue to break below 170.80, 170.75 or thereabouts, there is this line over here, which is our line in the sand with a 170.33. That is yesterday's closing print. You'll recall Apple absolutely tanked yesterday towards the end of the day, as we did get news about one of their suppliers reporting much weaker than expected demand for chips, for mobile phone chips. So not a good look there. So what I'm seeing here on TSLA has me a little bit encouraged. 2 bottoming tail candles, Ram, through that 50 period, and we talked about the 50 period featuring as a level of support. If this holds up, this will be a really good look for Tesla, but it's going to have to hold up like this with bottoming tail candles through the 50 and then seeing some new candles to make new highs. Alas, that is not forthcoming, it looks like, at the moment, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6 red candles in a row on the 5-minute chart. In case you're wondering, that's about 30 minutes worth of price action there. So we'll see if we can hold up at the 50 period. Adair, about 10 pennies out of the money at the moment.
Yeah, I'm looking right now at the 10 period and SOX L. I've been looking at this one all day. I've been saying all day that, well, no, I've changed my levels on this a couple times, but I said the most recent level I liked was that 34.10. I noticed we had these wicks above. We failed. We were dancing at that 9 EMA. I wanted to take this. I wanted to get involved. If we break above here to this 13s with a viciousness, I am out. Really, this was just a scalp plan, so I'm happy I took it, saw it, liked it, wanted to get involved. So this is a pretty quick trade here. I think we're just going to get out of this, though, because I do not have it on my side chart right now, so I have no way to monitor. And also, we do have that lesson of the day that we're going to get back into again. It is already 1:07. I cannot believe it. And we're out. Please just punch. Didn't work out, but sometimes you have to take the trades you want to take. And I'm happy I tried it because it was at that level I like rejecting a little bit, and I had the plan. And I know as well, like one thing I want to talk about too, I do have very tight risk parameters. Like sometimes I'll risk a couple pennies, but I think for the types of trades I like, because I do like the scalps, that I think makes more sense to me and it's something I'm more comfortable with. So just because I know I do get questions about that, I've tried having a little bit more open, I guess more free range risk parameters. And I think having the tighter risk parameters helps me to minimize my losses so I can maximize my gains. So I just wanted to say that.
Bang.
Also shout out to Pfizer. Shout out again to Pass Overdose for putting this one out to me. I love that potential flat bottom break. Had a beat quitter ready at the flat top break. Or sorry, not flat bottom, flat top. We did break the flat top. Right now, about 9 pennies in the money with the rest of this position. Now, looking back, because you always want to say, how could I have made this trade better? This area that I wanted to see us bounce off, that 26.53, I should have added there. Because look at how clean that bounce was. We would have had a cleaner trade. I did not end up bouncing there, so it is all it's all good.
Baby.
We did it. Oh, it was all a dream. I used to read chart magazines since Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine.
Wow.
Painting pictures on my wall. I do love that song. But right now, the only pictures on these walls are these charts.
Love it.
On these monitors. And right now, Pfizer looking for 26.70. I'm going to keep this. I usually don't like being in trades during the lesson of the day, but I did that Snapchat trade yesterday. I think as long as it's moving in a calm way, I'm okay keeping this on the side chart, waiting to see what we do. I think we could break a little bit higher, and I have half the position.
Pamp it.
Pamp it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Kendall Lopez. My French pronunciations are not very good, but Kendall Lopez basically saying in French that it's time for the lesson of the day.
Yes,
and indeed, it is. So let's pull up that lesson of the day. In 49 minutes, the big lesson will be Papa Powell telling us, don't mess with the FOMC decision. So we're going to have to wait and find out what happens. Yes, for the wrap there, guys. Shout out to Biggie. Trying to make some big and small trades every day. But let's talk right now about price target entry. Mastering your entry point using the gap and go strategy. So the gap and go strategy does thrive, as you talked about all week, on strong price movements. But what if you want to avoid the initial frenzy and get a potentially better entry price? So the price target entry is a variation of the gap and go strategy. We're going to talk about how you can set price targets and strategically enter trades based on them. Now, let's talk about the challenge of price target entry, especially with gap and go strategies, because it does often involve buying or selling at the opening of a gap or the start of the trading day. Now, you know, as the big kahunas, as Sharif will call them, Sean and Neil, always taking these big trades right off the open. But what if you want to wait? Because there can be some drawbacks, some setbacks to this type of trading. You could get an unfavorable entry price because, pardon? Short AMD says... Short 144 AMD, says Sean. So going to AM destroy that trade. Shout out to you. I know Sean was in AMD as well earlier. So let's talk about the challenge of entry, because you could get that unfavorable entry price. The early buying can lead to a higher entry than necessary. Market volatility is also, of course, really key, especially in the opening minutes, because these moments can be volatile, which can make it difficult to assess true direction. What about lack of confirmation? Because it's early here in the market, if you're buying right at the open, you could run the risk of a false breakout or a lack of continuation in the move. Now let's talk about price target entry, which can help save your trades and save your plan for some of these trades potentially. First, you want to identify the gap. Find a stock with a significant gap up or down at the open, along with high volume. Now talk about let's look at analyzing the trend. You want to use technical analysis, whatever form that may be, whatever indicators you like to use, to confirm the intended direction of the trend. Sometimes you'll use moving averages. Sharif and I talk about moving averages a lot. Or trend lines. What about previous high day close? You know, Sharif will talk about the pivots, which use previous day's high, low, and closing price. So those are things to note as well. Now you also want to talk about setting your target now that you've analyzed the trends and found the gap that you want to play. Based on your analysis and your risk tolerance, determine a price target slightly above in a bullish gap or below in a bearish gap the opening price, and this target will represent your ideal entry point that you want to play to make the big bucks. Then you want to place a limit order. So you don't want to chase the market price. Instead, you want to place a limit order at your chosen target price, which ensures that you only enter the trade if the price reaches your desired level. And here are some benefits of price target entry. You can get a potentially better entry price by waiting for a pullback instead of getting involved right at the gap. So also, you have a bit of a reduced risk because you've avoided the initial volatility of the gap and potentially limited your possible risk. Now, what about discipline and patience? Two things that I need to have more of in this market. And also, you can kind of hone in by waiting a little bit, right? So this approach will enforce discipline and patience by forcing you to wait for a confirmation level of the trend before entering. But let's talk about levels a little bit as well. Waiting to enter the trade can give you a better sense of what levels the stock is respecting and what areas might make sense for stop losses and profit takers. But there are some things to consider here as well. The price might not reach your target, which can cause you to miss the trade entirely. There's also volatility because even with a target, be prepared for short-term price fluctuations around your target zone. And last but never least, order management. Consider using trailing stop orders to manage risk as the price moves in your favor, and consider taking profit along the way in case the trend reverses. We talk about beak wetters a lot on this here desk, along with trying to ticker the trading turtle. Shout out to her. So make sure that you always have, if you're the plan, we get the bang button for that. If the plan for the trade is to have beak wetters, make sure that your position size reflects that, make sure your risk management reflects that, and make sure your plan reflects that as well. I appreciate that, and thank you, Sher, for putting these lessons together. Thank you, Pfizer, as well, for not falling to the downside here. Feel a little bit immunized, strong-arming that market still with that shot in the arm to the upside.
Tesla is headed down. So we did get a nice little 30-penny winner there on that move up. But the last remaining amount, we take an L on. So it's on the way down. It's breaking down now.
Elon Musk. Ramin wins for that.
Ram, how do you do it? Now, like it's the Adara infection. Love it.
Shout out to Adara. I didn't plug in my headset again, Ram. So I'm headsetless right now, but I'll deal with that in a second, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to be looking at 180, guys. If 180 holds on Tesla, we'll keep an eye out on that. Random area where it's trading right now, nothing doing there. Also, while Adara was dropping hot lines, I tried to get in on goggles at this level, Google. Reason being, here's a look. This is the IB high. So and it's also pivot points. So I was like, okay, this is an interesting area of support. It does seem to be holding up here at the 200 on the 5. Now, like I gotta tell you, I rarely use the 200 intraday. For whatever reason, it's featuring today on Google. If we start curling back up here, getting it on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say, then I'll participate. I already had a dip trade in it. I got stopped out. So I'm going to pack my patience to see if we hold up at this level on Google. It's still up almost 1% on the day. Now, what ended up also coming down while we were dropping Adara was dropping hot lines, is the dead one, Apple, all the way back from 171 3/4 into 170 3/4, now trying to hold up at the volume weighted average price. It doesn't, it's been multiple red candles in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if this one closes red, it'll be 7 on the 5-minute chart, and you did get that 20 or the 10 period crossing below the 20 period the first time today since the open. Now,
hi, Randy.
Dun, 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 dun.
I like how it, oh, wow.
There's
I
such
love
a,
that.
oh my gosh, he's dancing.
This is fantastic.
Randy's
and even
living his
me
best
too, like
life.
look at, like, oh, Ram. I was trying to play with the thing. Yeah, look at that. Like put me back on. See how like the hand thing is delayed? This is so cool. Get in there, Randy. No, it's okay.
That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, so we have a lot of stuff in terms of equipment in this office, and we enjoy using it, as you can see. No, seriously though, Apple at VWAP right now, so I am keeping an eye on that. Another thing that to keep an eye on, another very important area that's featured multiple times today is the 20 period on Meta. So here it held up strictly here as well, and we're right back at the 20 period yet again on META. Keep in mind though, we are putting in incrementally higher lows on this name, so it does look quite good at these levels. I'm not really inclined to jump in super quick here on META, but that is another possible trade on Meta. So we'll keep eyes out on that. It doesn't look like Google's going to hold up here at the 20 period, so that trade I'm probably not going to watch. Now I want to have my eyes on 180, on TSLA. Look, it's a level that's featured multiple times lately, so it may not hold up. So don't put a dip trade on there. Wait for it to prove to you that it's going to hold up at 180, and then you get a worse price, but you get confirmation. So to me, that's worth the trade there, Dara.
I like that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. You want that confirmation. Also, Pfizer having that breakout. So happy I saved a piece for the dream there. I tried to add back into this when I saw that bounce at 63s because I wanted to have a little bit more oomph, a little bit more wiggle room, some more profits to rake out along the way. We didn't do that, but that's okay. Pleased as punch with how this trade went. I think the biggest lesson for me of this trade, as I said earlier, with missing that buying opportunity at 26.54, is Adara, if you like the area and if it's bouncing off areas you like, try to add a little.
Come in, Katina,
oh
man.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. I just did traps the other day, so this is fantastic.
We've got the lemon pepper.
You got the
lemon pepper's coming. The lemon
Lemon
pepper's
pepper
coming.
freestyle. Lemon pepper
Hold on,
freestyle.
for real? For
One more
real?
hour.
Thank you,
Lemon
Sean, the win
pepper.
hookup there.
What?
Also, have you heard Lemon Pepper Freestyle by Drake and Rick Ross?
No.
Oh my gosh, because Sean was alluding to that this morning.
Is it?
It's a good one. It's like 5 minutes
So
long.
good is the flavor that Drake had to make a song about it?
With Rick Ross.
Yeah, with Ricky Rose, baby. That was my favorite, says the Katina. But yeah, right.
But yeah, so I thought, yeah, shout out there.
I'm pumped about that. I can't wait to have some of these. Are you going to try them?
Lemon pepper? I've never tried lemon pepper.
No?
I might.
Look,
I
it's
might.
not that spicy. Ram. Ram, do you find lemon pepper to be spicy? No.
She says no.
Yeah, but I think her
The tone
standard
of
might be
voice
different,
was
right?
good. I
Look,
like that.
I think you got to try it. I mean, you've had spicy food before, and you've soldiered through it. Not
The one
exactly
time.
that you're happy about it or anything,
Yeah.
but you do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. I think the lemon pepper sounds like it could definitely be within my wheelhouse. Also within my wheelhouse is this Pfizer breakout.
Pamp it.
Pamp, indeed. I'm going to say that. I'm going to try the old Sharif style of pamp it, pamp it, pamp. But yeah, so Pfizer pamping to the upside. If there's any other stocks you guys want to look at, let us know. I want to be looking at everything here on these market. I know CMTX that people were mentioning earlier, so let's take a look at that CMTX. CMTX, oh, I think it's CTMX. Yeah, it's CTMX. It's Cytomex, this one announcing that in a week they're going to have earnings and an exciting treatment update. Ooh, I have a question, Sharif.
Yo.
Because I know you talk about your VWAP high of day break type trades. Now, is this more of a flat bottom break or a VWAP high of day?
That's fantastic. Let's load that
think
up
this could be
because
a
we
good
talked
discussion.
about this. Yeah. Let's have a look at this. So this is interesting because it's been hugging VWAP and the 50 period, but it's also been respecting the 4. I think you bring up a really good point, Adara, that this has lower high, and yet again another lower high. So do we flat bottom break through 4? A distinct possibility on this, no question about it. Could absolutely get a flat bottom break through that $4 level. And being that it is a small cap gapper, it makes the chances of that more likely. The volume is also declining, but equally as possible is that we hold up and curl off the volume weighted average price and test $5 or $6 at the high. So it's hard to know with these, Adara. That's why, you kind of get in at your levels and then you say to yourself, where's my risk management? Got to place my stop, and you go from there. So I love CMTX, but I like WGS better. Look at this monster,
Wings
bro.
are flying.
I don't think the people wearing those would be very happy. And I've seen some hilarious videos online, let me tell you.
I apologize to wig wearers everywhere.
Yeah, it's all good. No, we're joking, yeah. So anyway, so this is a good look here on WGS. Also, SMMT, remember the VWAP dip on this monster over here where it dipped from 482 into like 450? Right back at 450 VWAP. This could be another possible dip trade here on the small cap gapper. Have a look at that. But we are printing here on AAPL long. Please as dang punch about this. This was a planned trade. VWAP, volume weighted average price on the dead one, AAPL. And so this is the only reason I got in here. The white line, white solid line is VWAP. So we got in 85s. Now we're printing, I think, 171s. Let's see if we can get above that $1 area, 171, and maybe curl back up here. But alas, I mean, the whole point of the trade was a dip trade. Whether or not it hangs out and continues to go up, different story. The Fuge got a big boy bump. Now, NVIDIA's pumping. So is Amazon. So this one had been in a downtrend all day, and we made it very clear that it had been respecting these two trend lines here. So it had been a downward channel the entire day. But that is over, it looks like. And this 178 flat top was a flat top breakout. Look at that move into 179. Keep your eye, though, on the volume weighted average price. It's around 179.50. That's about 70 pennies from where we're trading. We have the whole dollar still in front of us. But a nice trend break, a downward trend break right now on Amazon, as it had been respecting that downward channel all day, Adair. Not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to you there for the Apple tip cooking ahead of those earnings tomorrow, letting loose ahead of the Let Loose event next week. So
is that what they called it?
Yeah, the Let Loose event.
Is it the iPad event?
Well, they think it's the iPad event because they have the Apple Pencil
Gotcha.
in the image.
Gotcha.
So they're kind of hinting some things. But also, I cannot believe my eyes are on Pfizer. I have to say, really happy with this. So proud, so pleased as punch. And also, again, shout out to Pass Overdose and our whole great community for pointing out trades. I said, hey guys, if anyone's seeing anything cool, let me know. And they mentioned Pfizer, and I loved the look of that flat top breakout. And I usually don't take breakouts like this, but that's why I wanted to take some profit, because I was like, you know what, Adara? If you take your 8 pennies here, took out half the position, maybe a little bit too much of the position at the 26.65 flat top break. Now we're another 20 pennies in the money, almost 30 pennies in the money on this trade total. So really happy with that. If we keep struggling, though, this was our earlier top, so if we can't break above this decisively, I might have to flee. There is Brankel's golfing. Shout out to that. I love Ramin always like having the team.
Put it again,
Ram. In the market. There he is.
Brankel's. Wave.
Oh.
No, we just wanted you to wave, brother. That's all. It's all good.
Shout out to Brankles.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think they took you off camera now, homie. But get that golf swing, baby. The whole floor, I think a bunch of them are going golfing today. So they're all getting ready.
I see them because they'll be like, oh, we're going golfing, and they have all the bags and stuff.
Yeah.
So shout out to golfers. Shout out to Pfizer trying to hit that one to the upside. I don't know golf terminology, so apologies for that very mixed metaphor. Let's look at NEO. What about NEO, says Taquito Trades? Let's find out this about NEO. NEO having a little bit of a reversal in fortune here. We had a couple bounces off this 527, now starting to reject off the 527 level, now decidedly below the 90 EMA. What will we do at VWAP? We're going to have to find out. VWAP right now around 515, another area where we had some chop and churn. Right now looks like NEO could continue to the short side. This one initially very strong off those delivery numbers for April 2024. So NIO right now saying no to the longs, unfortunately, continuing to the downside. I would say it'll be really interesting to see what we do at VWAP coming in about 5 pennies. Pfizer has me so happy, though, I have to say. I'm
so happy for you.
Pet her. Thank you so much. I don't know why I actually Pfizer was a dog. How are you
it's
doing
all
over
good.
here?
I'm about to get out of my Apple trade. We're nicely in the money on this one, and there it is. There's that beautiful red triangle. We take that 171.85, and we take it out at 20. So a nice 35 penny move there on AAPL. Planned trade off the volume weighted average price. Let me tell you what else was a possible planned trade that I'm kind of happy I didn't take. This 180 defend on the Cybertruck. I'm still not completely convinced that this is not going to hold. We're putting some bottoming tail candles right now on the 5, a little bit below 180, a little bit above. As you can see, we're dancing with the level as we speak. It's going to have to prove to me that this level is going to hold, and if that means getting in at a worse price, so be it.
but I do like a possible 180 defend here on TSLA. It has shown its propensity for a range. Whether or not that range now includes 180 or not, we're gonna find out shortly. I'm not Mamon. What does that mean?
I'm not Mammon, maybe?
Mammon. Tesla might break 180. So perfect comment based upon what I was just talking about. I guess we'll wait, my friend. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to jump into this when you bring a good point because 180 could give way. I'm going to pack my patience, and if it starts curling back up, making that rounded bottom, as the NOS, the boss, likes to say, then we'll get involved in that bad boy. But you know what, Adira? I want to show you this because I'm as impressed by it as I don't know if anybody else is. But this lower high channel on the future today is just, this has got to go in like some sort of textbook here because it's been all day on this lower end channel. And by the way, I've mentioned this before, but if when you draw a trend line, it's not a bad idea to try to extend that trend line as far as your program will allow you, because you don't know where it's going to feature. So what I mean by that is, if I had drawn this trend line here between these 2 points and my program didn't extend it, then I wouldn't, I'd be able to visually see that this would be another resistance level. But it's better when you actually have the levels there, or the lines there. So extend your trend lines as far as your program will allow you. I know that this software here has an option where it extends it for you. So if I was to draw it, it would extend it all the way for me. I haven't activated it on this platform, but I got it on the one at home. So anyway, the future definitely within a range. Tesla still fighting with 180. And I want to mention this as well, that we are now breaking, or we're at the 20 period on NVDA. And why that's important is because we hadn't touched the 20 period since this came over here, 1040. So it's been quite a while, almost 3 hours since we've been at the 20 period. We haven't taken it with any aggression, but we are at it. So possibly look for a curl. If you don't see the curl and we start getting away from it on a closing basis, possibly look for a 50 period retracement or even a VWAP retracement. The 50 period RAM is at 870, 827 and 2/3. The volume weighted average price is at 832 1/4. So let's see exactly what we get here on the 20 period for NVDA. That could be another very interesting, either short or long. I already secured shorts for NVDL in case this monster wants to come right back down. Also, another possible look here, AMZN. We were talking about how this one broke the the downward channel. Well, it's also finding a little resistance where it's hanging out right now. This 179, 178 seems to be a bit of a dollar range on AMZN. So is this a perfunctory break, or are we going to hold this 178 level? You can see we consolidated after we broke through that the downward trend line. We consolidated very sideways at 178 before breaking up into 179. Here comes 178 again. Is this a failed break? So I'm going to be watching 178 in the same way that I'm watching 180 on TSLA. These are all really good levels, in my opinion, that we could possibly get long off, especially if the market really breaks this downward channel and really starts going. I think a lot of these Mag 7 names could start popping off. The other one is Google. I still like this area, man, and we're putting all these bottoming tail candles on Google. I tried this long. I got stopped out. I'm very interested, though, if this trend starts curling back around to get long on goggles again. So we'll continue to watch that, Adair.
Pfizer broke high of day. I'm so happy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is, again, shout out to Passover Nose for pointing this one out to me. I'm proud of myself for staying in this because, as we know, I kind of like scalp, I love scalping, and I usually scalp it earlier, but I think being able to take some profit in that position, as much as that was a scintilla of profit, kind of helped me to feel like, Adara, you're all good. You have this opportunity. I don't know why Pfizer decided to get that shot in the arm to the upside with volume, but you know what? If it keeps doing so, I have no problem. I'm pleased as punch, but I don't want to overstay my welcome here either. We're going to try, what, we got in at 27.50. Oh my gosh, I was going to say we're going to get out 27.08s for a 50 penny winner, but if we're going to keep moving up, Pfizer, I don't want to stop you, Kate. We're going to let her do her thing for a bit, cool off, and we're going to take a look at Dell and Carvana for some people. Shim King mentioning Dell. Yeah, I like this move up on Dell here. We've had some higher lows, higher highs trying to bounce off that 9 EMA. I think that's a really nice look. Dell trying to curl to the upside here, but we are running into a little bit of resistance around that 119 level, which was, I think, a little bit of a resistance level earlier. We tried to pop above that, then continuing to the downside of the 9 EMA around 1145. So let's see us continue to move up here on DEL. Now let's also talk about Carvana, because Pima and a couple other people in the chat looking at Carvana. This is interesting. Carvana really did struggle with the 85 level, as Pima was mentioning in the chat. Then we had this wick down bounce just around this 84.80 and continuing to the upside. So Carvana certainly taking a nice little drive here to the upside ahead of its earnings, which are tonight, which you're going to be getting on the market recap. Definitely check that out, 4 to 4:30. Also, I had a moment this morning while making the earnings board together. I said to Sharif, I'm like, oh, that's so funny. I never noticed the car has a halo on it and the Carvana logo. And then Sharif's like, yeah, it's because it's like Nirvana. Like, and I was like, he was very nice about it, and I was like so tired. I was like, that is an embarrassing moment. But yeah, so thank you guys for the support in the chat for Pfizer. I honestly cannot believe my eyes are this one. I'm so happy with this trade. I'm gonna have to probably take this out because I don't want to hold into oblivion. But we're gonna get out here at 21. So we're gonna get out 20s. So pleased as punch. Thanks again to Pass Overdose. I'm so happy that for everybody to be part of our community and sharing. We're always happy to be here with you guys. And now we're going to have to stop with the bad Pfizer puns. Someone is so excited over here.
Stop, Ram Ram. Ram Ram's always trolling me, bro. Anytime I get excited. Took that 180 on Tesla. I told y'all I didn't end up getting the best price because I was looking at this NVDL short that I'm losing on. But this is the one. We talked about a 180 defend. It was doing a bottoming tail candle dance at 180. We took some out there at 40, took some out another at 60. And alas, there it goes. It's going into 181. 180 defend on AAPL. It does look like I'm out of my NVDL trade. Yep, tried to take this short off the 20-period retracement. And here we go again to the downside. So I won't be looking to short NVIDIA off the 20-period anytime soon, as now the future has changed its tune as we get a lot closer to Papa and Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, the federal. Sorry, one second. The Fed, the FOMC president. Sorry, I was just getting a message on my watch. The idea here is that we were printing these lower highs all day, and now we did break this channel on a closing basis. Prior to that, you could see that we were wicking above it. Now we're actually printing on a closing basis, still south of VWAP though, so it could be a false breakout, right? But in any event, I'm out of my NVDL trade, and this Tesla trade just gave you $1.10 from that 180 into 180, 110. Nice move up there for TSLA. Great look on that. Softies headed back to the north side, and these bottoming tail candles on Google are just mesmerizing me. I have to get back into that. That usually is a long. Okay, when you see these bottoming tail candles into a key level like 164, which is not a key level, but it's a whole dollar level, usually means that there's a whole bunch of buying in and around there. And if we can start printing higher highs, then you really get confirmation of that. So good look here on Google, looking to hold this level, but we're still below the volume weighted average price on the future. NVIDIA, though, on its way up, baby, breaking through the 20 on a closing basis now. NVDA, the monster, looks like it may be headed to the north side here. It's about $13 off the low at 812, and now it's printing 826s. So good look there for the monster. Let's see exactly what it does. Also, this other trade that we talked about, the 20-period featuring on Meta, holds up. So this one, you get the print, the closing print above the 20-period again, and right back above $2 from the entry you go into mid 437s here on META. Great look on a lot of these names. Wow, NVIDIA. NVIDIA is really going here, guys. So this is an interesting look. VWAP on NVIDIA, 832. So we're about $5 still away from that right now, but huge green candles on NVDA at the moment. You're not seeing that on Apple. You're not seeing it on Amazon either. A little bit on Google. I'm not inclined to. Wow, look at this. Look at this. This is my entry. Look where my exit is on this.
Imagine I didn't have a stop. I'd be almost $1 out of the money on NVDL.
Stop loss gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Apparently, there's people who don't like stop losses on the internet. Brankles. Hilarious. Making noises back there.
That was good.
I love that. What are you looking at over there?
I mean, yeah, great management though in that NVDL trade. In all seriousness, like shout out to you. You didn't take an NVDL on it. Well, you did, but you like within reason. Like you didn't lose
10
more
pennies.
than you needed to. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
I got you.
But so Pinterest, I am in the pin short, kind of on pins and needles right now. I think it was Alexander in the chat saying, "Oh, Adara should have held onto that Pinterest short earlier." It's true. I did briefly have a Pinterest short, but I think the irony of this is I initially tried to go long Pinterest off that 9 EMA bounce, which would have worked, but I was a couple minutes too late for that. And B, actually, oddly enough, my only successful trade on Pinterest thus far was that quick 10 penny long scalp. But yeah, I totally see what you mean, Alexander, there. I should have been on the Pinterest short, which I really wasn't. We had that 41 move to the downside. Could have made over $1. Shout out to anybody who did take that trade. I am in a Pinterest short now, though, and that's because I'm seeing these continued lower highs, lower lows. We are in our third green candle in a row, so that does make me a bit nervous, risking 10 pennies. Want to see what we do around 39.61 or 62, which is ironic, like happens to be both A, where we have that 9 EMA, which is a level I like. B, it's around VWAP, and C, that would be a higher high. And I do not want a higher high. If we see a higher high, I say bye-bye. Speaking of things going high, let's see if Pfizer got any more Heiser. But we had a little bit of a blue skizer set up on that one. Yeah, Pfizer continued. So congrats to anybody in this trade. I was happy I was able to get out of here at 27.20s. I usually don't even stay in trades this long, so I was pleased as punch with my ability to keep calm, carry on. I had this one going during the lesson as well, just kind of kept my eye on it, made sure it was all good. So
Did you know that's from World War II?
What?
Keep calm and carry on.
I did not know that was from World War II.
They used to put that like on the posters so that people would, during the bombing of London, the Battle of, what's it called, the Battle of England? What was that war called? Something like that, where the Luftwaffe was just raining down hell on London. They used to put these posters all around, keep calm and carry on. Because I love the t-shirts, I want to know the history of it.
That's cool.
Yeah, all right. Look, NVIDIA rejecting the 50 period right now on the 5. Or for the moment, at least it gave you a micro trade there. That's the red line is the 50 period, so keep your eye on that. If you are inclined to short NVIDIA, I probably will not. Or will I? I mean, I want to see exactly what we do here. Now, if I was to short right here, I'd have to give it to 45s. So that would be, by design, it would have to be a 25 penny risk. Right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking about there. I'm unsure about what to do here, but we did put a topping tail candle through the future. So, okay. Decisions. I'm sorry.
No, I liked it. It like sums up like the
I'm genuinely
thinking in this
thinking.
market. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not going to jump into it. By the way, Brendo's good to go for 2, so we're off for that. Yeah, we're good. I'm not Mammon. Let me know how to pronounce that, by the way. Thank you for explaining what it means. It's a word in Aramaic and Hebrew, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It was actually very nice.
That's really neat.
To hear that. He asks, or they ask, any advice about patience and staying focused? I saw the short of VWAP on Tesla on the 5 and the bounce off 180, but I keep being sidetracked by things since it's slow and missed both. Look, brother, I completely understand what you're saying there. Trading, you got to really be focused. Some suggestions I can make to you, if you like those levels, put out some resting orders. If you're able to attach a stop loss to your resting order as well, even better. What do I mean by that? So if you like, say, the 180 dip trade for a long on Tesla, put your resting order there for 180 and then attach a stop loss to it. Where do you see the area of support that it could bounce off? Obviously, you have to incorporate your risk management into that as well. If you're not going to employ these resting orders, what I would say to you is, just you got to force yourself, really. I mean, there's money on the line, right? And that's the thing. So, yeah, there's really not much else I can say other than you try to use these resting orders if you just have a busy life and there's no way you can be screen watching all the time. Put in those resting orders and come what may. I mean, obviously practice it in the sim first, see if it's a sound strategy that you can employ. So I'd say that to you. Now, the future's doing things here, man. We got a topping tail candle through VWAP, excuse me, and we broke the channel. Now we're coming back down again. NVIDIA put in a topping tail candle through the 50 period. I'm unsure what to make of this latest market move, but obviously we do have some volatility here in anticipation of Jerome Powell and the FOMC a decision with respect to interest rates. Widely anticipated there will be no change, that we will continue likely on the same 5.25% to 5.5% until, I think we're pricing in us to hold for quite some time. So, all right, guys, Meta is at high a day. Meta is absolutely pumping here, completely counter market. 438.75. I'm still very interested in taking a 440 short on Meta. That is a level that I charted yesterday. It is a level that I'm going to hold true to. So here's the chart. Here's the charting on Meta. You have price action support at 430, and you saw that bounce earlier. If 430 breaks, use it as resistance, and there's also price action resistance at 440. So keep your eye on that. I will definitely be, and we're close. 439.06 now is META. Huge move up today for Meta. 427 low. Where's the closing print? 430. So we're about $10 off the closing print and $13 almost off the low there.
Yeah, so we are, we have only about 10 minutes left because we're going to switch to at 155 over to the big desk in preparation for Mr. Jerome Powell. So just a heads up, we have 11 minutes left with you guys. Pinterest right now finally getting the message that it is rejecting. Well, it has been rejecting, so it's like took Pinterest a second to get that. Now we're seeing that move to the downside.
Down.
I am pleased as punch that I got back involved in this. Shout out to Alexander for mentioning the stock and even reminding me, hey, I was looking at Pinterest earlier. So I like that rejection. Happy to take this.
Why?
Keep going to the downside, Pinterest, because you still have my interest. So, we're still Pinterested. We're Pinterested in getting out around this 33 level. No, definitely not any more than that, because that area was a little bit of support or resistance earlier than it formed a support. So I want to be very cautious, and I don't want to have enough for any beak wetting. Shout out to Pima or Pema in the chat. $2 long Carvana. Killing it there, taking a bit of that flat top break, much like Pfizer. A lot of these NYSE related names getting that nice move to the upside. So congrats to you. Pinterest, just as quickly as it fell, coming back to the upside. So I'm going to do the Scooby-Doo to Pinterest, because I did not love that. Should have taken my 10-cent profit there. Also, shout out to DJ Marshall. It was all a scheme. I used to read Bloomberg Magazine, talking bonds and tipper tape, trading from the mezzanine. So shout out to you for that. Much appreciated.
Amazing.
I am not Biggie, but I tried. So thank you there to DJ Marshall, putting the DJ in DJ Marshall.
How is DJT doing? Did we look at
let's look at DJT. Yeah. Oh, right. It's not on the NY. I forgot.
Remember, he doesn't trust the
Yeah, because he doesn't trust New York. So let's go to NASDAQ and see how that's going. Okay, yeah, DJT,
wow.
Not the place to be. Continuing to duck below that 9 EMA right now after trying. So we tried to have a bit of a move up here, 45, coming back. And you mentioned that 45 support, which is actually still holding. So you came up to me and said, Dara, look at that 45 support. 45 support still holding. Curl up to 47.5, then 47.50, what am I saying? Now we slump, continued below. So it'll be interesting to see if this 45 keeps holding. Also, really quickly here in these last 10 minutes, I like this question from Yoel Renya. When you, taking both of us, when you use stop losses, what's the biggest hit you're willing to take as a loss? $1 to $5? So for me, I like losing, like, it really depends on the trade. I usually will not risk more than 20 pennies, but it's because I'm scalpier. So if my trades are planned so that I'm trying to make less, I don't want to risk very much either. And I was saying this to Sean. Sean and I were having a conversation this morning at Yield Coffee Machine. And I was saying to him, one of the biggest things I've been working on since going live is trying to minimize my losses. And yesterday, I actually had a pretty good trading day because the focus, like my two best names yesterday were both names that I took losing trades on. But it's because the wins were able to outshine the losses. And that's really what I'm trying to work towards. So, I hope that answers your question, Yoel Rania. I think it's really going to depend on the person and the trade setup with how much you're comfortable losing. But always try to risk less than you want to make.
Yes, absolutely agree with that. Well said. Good risk management principles, Adara. Now, we are long NVDL as we had a nice move up here. And I thought we were going to take the 50 on the 5 on NVDA. Alas, we are finding some resistance at this time. But I do like the resistance level into 830, a little bit better. So I think we could possibly move up. I've already put a little bit of a beak wetter there on NVDL, trading off the chart of NVDA. We'll continue to watch and see what we get there. But someone was writing this in the chat, and more correct they could not be. Meta is awfully strong, guys. It's printing near high days right now. The high day through 439 did break, actually, got to 439.06. I am likely going to short this at 440. That is, unless it blows through that level, making it insignificant to me. So we'll continue to watch that. Let's go up into territory here on NVDL, and there we get the print. So NVDA to the high side, trading NVDL. Let's see if we can get that 830 touch. Above 830, I'm talking about NVIDIA. Above 830, if that acts as a resistance level, you have VWAP. A smidge above 830 relative to the overall price of NVIDIA, 831.75 or 2/3 or thereabouts. So keep your eye on that. If you want to trade the monster, there are 3 derivatives off which you can trade. NVDL, like the one that I got right now. There's NVDS and NVDX. They're all differently priced. So figure out which one works best with your risk management or account size or what have you, whatever variables you're using there. Now, everything got a little bit of a pump up there as the future, I guess, got back into the volume weighted average price, but it's having trouble with VWAP. No question about it. I'm talking about the NQ June contract, as we are now 11 minutes away from the FOMC interest rate decision. Again, widely expected to be a hold and see, I guess. Again, 2:30 is the news conference. I believe that is when the better time to trade is, because it's going to be asked a plethora of questions by reporters. Included among those questions, I anticipate, for how many rate cuts do we have this year relative to what was disclosed in the dot plot in December and March. How long do we stay for? What are your opinion about jobs, et cetera, et cetera. I even want to hear his opinion on the economy, as we've been getting some strong GDP prints lately south of the border. So we'll continue I'll be all ears, I'll tell you that, for Papa dropping hotline. Shout out to Pardeep Singh. Thank you for joining Trader TV. Sharuz, don't trade around FOMC. You're absolutely right, Sharuz. I still think, though, that the real time for volatility is going to be that half past the hour, rather than the actual Fed rate decision itself. So D-Loaf, do we get a dot plot at 2 p.m.? No, it's every 3 months, brother. So we got one in December and then another one in March. So add to that, and then that's when we're going to get the next one. Shout out to you, Kevin. I see you, sir. I see you. Kevin says he's excited for the FOMC meeting, man. And yeah, I echo that sentiment.
I think Kevin Mendoza earlier too saying Fed watch party with popcorn.
Hey.
Yeah, bring the tea. Couple messages I want to shout out in this chat here. Justin Fonstock saying Friday, Adara versus Neil rap battle. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would take an L on that. That is for sure. But also, that's an amazing beat winner in NVDL. Speaking of L's.
Thank you.
Shot? I don't think so, Shot. But thank you for that. Yeah, also Anthony Kerr saying, do you guys hold into the start of the meeting? I don't know if you're asking the chat this or us. I only trade in the midday, so I will not be holding. So putting that out there. But we could be holding a cup of coffee to see how this goes. Let's try to translate into Starbucks. Not my best transition by far. Starbucks continuing to the low of day. Someone was asking what's going on here. What's going on is those earnings were not great and were not well received by the market. Revenue, miss. Earnings per share, miss. Guidance, lower than expected. Same store sales, dropped. So very few positive things to talk about here. It's really funny as well. I was looking at the CEO's comments, and he was like, oh, but our lavender drink launch went well. So A, that was like a month ago, and B, sir, I'm pretty sure that was like not the quarter you reported on.
You tell him, Adara.
I think that was, pretty sure the lavender drink happened within the current quarter. So, but we're gonna have to find out what happened there. Although the lavender drinks were pretty good, kind of sweet, but yeah, I just thought that was really funny that he was like, oh, our lavender drink launch went well, and I was like,
I saw that.
That's just one thing.
So funny.
Laxman, the CEO of Starbucks. Maybe he's being a little bit too lax, man. Maybe we need to beef up the sales there, Mr. Laxman, CEO of Starbucks. Self-ability saying, A. Dot, you got this. I mean, well, I like that too, because Kendrick K. Dot, I appreciate that nickname.
I like that.
Quite a lot. Kendrick Lamar goes by K. Dot sometimes.
Oh, I didn't know
Anthony Kerr now getting a refill of his coffee. I think, yeah, this FOMC meeting could get very spicy indeed. You might want to have.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to need to stay awake, because I think it'll keep you up with all the hot takes. But we'll have to find out.
Well, I don't think you'll have trouble because we're going to get those lemon peppers and you're going to try some, right?
That's true too. Yeah. Shout out to Drake and Rick Ross.
Love it.
With the lemon pepper freestyle. We're going to give you some lemon pepper hot lines, and Papa Powell will be freestyling on that mic. So
Yes, exactly.
we'd have to find out.
I can't wait to hear what he has to say. We're all going to be here. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to find out exactly how this whole thing turns out. On the day, make sure to hang out with us. The big kahunas are going to be coming on 5 minutes early. In about 2 minutes, we're going to be sending it to Brendo. He's at the big desk. We're all locked and loaded for, again, what is anticipated to be a hold on the rate, decrease or increase or anything. We're going to stay as we are. And then we're going to be all ears at 2:30 once he takes the mic and starts talking about the actual details and gets questions. So also keep in mind that his statement that he's going to read on the mic or on the podium is released right at 2. So if you don't want to wait for the actual statement itself, you can go ahead to the Fed website. I forget what it is. Just find out. Just type in Federal Reserve. And then essentially you'll be able to see his pre-read statement. NVIDIA is absolutely headed to the high side, guys. Here comes NVDA, and NVDL is breaking through the $0.50. Here it is. We're almost at the volume-weighted average price. We're well off the bottom. We're well over. We're almost $20 off the bottom, $8.12 there. VWAP is almost at $8.32, so that'll be about $20 worth of range off that bottom. Keep your eye on $8.30, and then obviously the volume-weighted average price, if that is to get taken. It'll be the first time today that we break and hold above the volume-weighted average price on NVDA. Bit of a move down, and as you can see, since they reported earnings, I'm going to show you the daily chart here. It's been lower highs and lower lows. So you could say this is a bull flag, and you may be right, but the fact of the matter is we are well off these highs, and we didn't quite come into that $1,000 area. You know, we got close a couple times into $9.75 a Dara. 1 minute left.
1 minute left. Yeah, a couple seconds left here until we get to 155. Giving it to you live with Jerome Powell, the FOMC interest rates. What will we say? Will we hold? Probably. But we're going to have to hear from Papa Powell himself if it's higher for longer or what's happening next. We'll see you guys tomorrow with more gap and go strategies. Right now, we have to gap and go over to the big desk with Brendan.
See you guys.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome in. 5 minutes to go here before we get, well, let's be honest, not much. We'll get this rate decision. Will be no change on the interest rates. Again, we'll get the statement that accompanies this rate decision, which will have some comments from not only Fed Chair